Hello and welcome to 360 Gamercast, episode 99 for Tuesday, the 30th of November 2021. I'm your host, Mark Webb, gamertag Pearson ID, Steam ID, Webby 360G, and joining me on this very fine evening is...
I listen to 99 podcasts, but 360G is number one. It's Nick Wilson.
And Sensei Switch.
Woohoo! How many times have we changed the show name and started again and got to episode 99? I've lost count. And do you know what's interesting is that on my computer I've still got the original voice messages where people sent us congratulations for, I think it was like episode 150 and then 200. I don't think we did anything on the original 100, which is quite odd. I've still got all the files, which is really cool. Anyway, so this is the last show of November. Christmas season is coming up fast, well, thick and fast. So that's all good indeed. And as an early Christmas present, obviously we are doing episode 100 next week. Obviously next week is supposed to be Patreon week, but as an early Christmas present, episode 100 will be going out for everybody day and date. As a normal show does, because, you know, Christmas is forgiving, and I'm pretty sure the patrons don't mind episode 100 coming out for everybody, because it is indeed a big milestone, even though we've done it a few times now. Also on the Christmas season, I watched my first Christmas movie today. Isn't that nice? And it's a movie called 8-Bit Christmas. So basically, it's a film. Obviously, I don't want to spoil it, but the gist of it is it's set in the 80s, and it's a story of a dude telling the story of when he was a kid, and all he wanted for Christmas was a NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System. So it's basically like, you know, telling the story of his kids at school and all the kids wanting the Nintendo, and it's set in the 80s and all the parents are like, oh, video games are bad, blah, 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 blah. But it's just their story of what they do and all the funny things that happen to for them trying to get a Nintendo. So for those of us who are in our late 30s, early 40s or whatever, and the 80s were kind of our era, you know, it does bring back a lot of memories, because obviously it's the time before the internet, you know, and like there's always that one kid who has all the consoles, right? And in this, there's this one kid who has a NES, and everyone's fighting to get in his house to play it, and he's a bit of a dickhead and only let a certain amount of kids in, and it's just a really good movie. It's only just come out, so in America it's only available on HBO Max, I think it is. If you want to watch it in the UK, I don't think there's any official way of watching it, even in the cinema. So I'm going to leave it to your imagination how I managed to watch the film today. But it is really, really good. So if you manage to find a way of watching this movie, it's a well worth watch for, you know, a family. It's a good family film. It's a lot of fun. And especially if you're into games and stuff like that, and you're of that age, it's really good. So check that out. I love it. I didn't even know that this thing was being made or anything. I normally like to try and keep on top of video game stuff, but because initially you think it's a film just about, you know, them trying to get a NES and all that sort of stuff. It's actually got a really good story behind it, and it's a really good family film. So if you've got young kids like Clarky and other people in the community, then give it a watch, man. It's really, really good. Sit down with the family and enjoy it. Good fun.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really, really good. Okay, right. So we'll kick off the show then with what we have been playing. I haven't got a lot of news this week, so if you guys have any news yourselves, feel free to chime in. But so who wants to go first with what they've been playing, or would you like me to go first?
Completely up to you, mate.
You want me to go first? Okay, I can go first for a change. Okay, so
Save the best for last.
Yeah, we'll save the best for last. Okay, so I've been playing a few games this week. I forgot to write one down actually, so I'm just doing that now. Okay, so I've been playing some Forza Horizon 5 this week. Not been playing it as much as I have been in previous weeks, unfortunately, just because just Halo has kind of taken over, to be honest. But I'm still having a lot of fun on Forza Horizon 5. So a big thank you to Captive Venom and Lafafumi for being super dedicated to the game, because whenever I look at my friends list, those two guys are always playing it, and they're always welcoming of people to join their party and to join their games. So I've joined them a few times this week and been going through the seasonal challenges. So there's a season every week, and you can earn 2 cars on each of those seasons by doing the challenges. And most of the cars that you own in those seasons you can't actually buy or find in barn find, so they are well worth doing. I believe last week I got the DeLorean. It does go faster than 88 miles per hour though, especially after it's been tuned. So yeah, still having a lot of fun on Forza. I have noticed a lot of people kind of drop off it in the community. I think a lot of people are a little bit burnt out on it already. It is one of those games that I do like to go back to. It is super duper fun, especially when you're playing with friends, and doing the kind of the playground games as well is always very fun. So they always seem to add on a few of those into the seasonal challenges, and you don't actually have to win them to get the kudos for doing them, which is good. It's just like in the old Forzas, really. You know, like you got your tag and your King of the Hill and all that sort of stuff. It's just a lot of fun. It gives a little bit of a variety to it instead of just doing races. Yeah, so still having a lot of fun on that, and enjoying playing online with those guys, which is really, really good. Have you guys been playing it at all?
No.
I'm playing it right now.
Oh, gaming and podcasting. Are you just playing it on your own, just doing some unlocks then, Nicky? Are you still enjoying it?
Yeah, just driving around, unlocking the roads and stuff like that. Just a relaxing game.
It is indeed, yeah. No, it's good. Absolutely fantastic. So still enjoying that, which is great. So it's one good thing about Game Pass. So I've obviously just briefly mentioned it. I've been playing quite a bit of Halo this week. So I've been playing it a lot. The only thing that is a little bit frustrating about Halo is that a lot of people find it frustrating. I'm not that fussed really. Is they've added this new game mode called Fiesta, and it's so it's part of the challenges. So you have to do these specific challenges in Fiesta to unlock the samurai armor pieces, which some people are really getting into. And I'm seeing, when I've been joining games, I'm seeing a lot of people wearing this armor now, and I knew that would happen, but it gets a little bit boring after a while, because I like doing the big team battles and I like doing the ranked modes as well, because obviously with the ranked mode you start with the same couple of weapons each time, you know, and with Fiesta it's a little bit of a luck on the draw, because each time you respawn you spawn with 2 completely different weapons. So you could spawn one time and get a couple of really good power weapons, and the next time you just get a couple of shitty pistols. Now you can pick up the weapons on the floor from people who've died, which is what I tend to do quite a lot. But again, it's just a little bit frustrating if you spawn with really crap weapons. It's just a little bit deflating, to be honest. I'm still having a lot of fun on Halo, but to be honest, I'm getting a little bit bored already of the same few maps and the same game modes. So they really need to already add some more content to the game, I think, to keep the player base. I've already seen in the news today that the player base, just from looking at the Steam charts, has massively decreased just within a week. It's like halved, and I think the reason for that is everything I've said, right? I mean, a lot of people are upset about all the microtransactions for the cosmetics. Now, my argument for that is, look, the cosmetics are secondary in this. It's just a hell of a lot of fun to play. But, you know, especially with Big Team Battle, there's only 3 maps, and that's one of the best modes to play, in my opinion, and it needs more variety and it needs more game modes, because you look at the other Halos and you have loads of game modes like Shotty Snipers, Oddball, Capture the Flag, and loads of other sort of ones, and you could actually pick and choose. Whereas on this, it's just, there's a couple of game modes and that's it. It just feels very unfinished. So I'm hoping that they pull their fingers out and add some more modes very quick, but or otherwise I feel like the player base is going to dwindle quite substantially. Now, I know obviously it's a free-to-play title, so there's always going to be a key player base there, but I don't want it to get to a point where it drops off so much that people are bored and then they just never come back, because what you find is, what a lot of people do is they just get bored of a game and then they just delete it. Whereas, you get a small core who will keep it on there and come back every now and again or whatever. But, I think Halo's a great game and I want it to keep a decent player base, because otherwise it will just get very stale and take longer to find matches, etc. But on the whole, I'm still really enjoying it. It's just those few key things that I think just need to be addressed with Halo, to be honest.
When is it officially out?
I think in a week or two it's officially out.
I suppose that when the campaign
12.
and all that comes out, they'll drop some new maps on that day as well. Do you think?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they will. I mean, I have seen on the Twitter sphere that the developers have said that they are definitely bringing back some classic maps, which fans always love. Like your classics like Blood Gulch and various others, right? I'm really hoping that they do bring back those classic maps, like Zanzibar, the one with the windmill in the middle. And I think that will happen, but it will be coming in drips and drabs. And there has been a lot of stuff. A lot of the streamers and media have had early access to the campaign, and it's getting all positive feedback, which is really, really good to hear. I watched some of the Digital Foundry one today, and they're just dribbling all over it, saying how great it is and how smooth it is. It's a big open world, and the graphics are great, and it's very smooth frame rate, etc. So I'm feeling very positive on the campaign. I'm really looking forward to playing it. But again, there's still that small disappointment that you can't play it in co-op until May next year, which is a little bit frustrating, because, as I've said before, with every Halo game, I've always played them in co-op, so it's going to be a bit odd just playing it single player. I mean, I still think it's going to be good. It's a big difference to the previous games, right? Because none of them have been completely open world. I mean, some of them have had big open areas, but they've been quite linear. Whereas this is, it's very just a big open map. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fun. But the key component to all Halo games has always been the multiplayer. That's what always sets Halo apart from everything else. That the multiplayer is always a lot of fun, and I'm hoping that they keep the updates coming with this one. And on a side note as well, people were asking me for a freaking gamer night on Friday on Halo, and no fucker turned up. So I was really not happy. I was not in a good mood. So I'm not going to bother. I've got to the point now where I'm not even going to bother organising gamer nights anymore, because, I put a lot of effort and my free time into organising and turning up for them. And the turnout for gamer nights since I started doing them again on all games has not been great. And I know Turk Monkey has always been there, and Colin and Peebs even made a big effort to come off COD and join me on Halo, which was really appreciated. But that was it. There was just us, 2 podcast crew with me and Turk Monkey, and that was it. I was expecting a bigger turnout. So all I'm going to do now is just to go online, play the games that I want to play. People are always free to join me in party chat or send me a message, and I'm always willing to play if my time allows. I know a few people in the Discord said that they weren't sure how to after I'd come off, they put in how they didn't know how to join because they were on PC playing it on Steam. Well, if you're playing on PC, all you got to do is hit your Windows G button, and it brings up your Xbox game bar, and then you see your friends list on there anyway. And then you can just join our party chat, because I always go on Xbox party chat on those games because of playing with console people as well. So we always jump in a Xbox gamer chat. Okay, so I'm going to move on to my next game quickly because Clarky in the Twitch has reminded me. He says he doesn't like to play Halo. That's fair enough. If it's not a game that you want to play, that's cool. Yeah, that's completely understandable. But like, people are asking me for Halo. It's on Game Pass, and then no one turned up. I was just really not happy. Yeah. So anyway. I've been playing a little bit more of Battlefield 2042 this week as well, which will make Clarky very, very happy. And I've actually started to enjoy it now. There's been a few patches on the PC version which have ironed out a few of the issues. So what I've been finding is it's still running my CPU very, very hot, but the stability seems to be a bit better now. So I've been trying the, the new, the modern mode, and then obviously I've been trying out the Portal mode because I wanted to play the Battlefield 2042 and the Battlefield 3 maps and game modes. So I'll just talk about the newer mode first. It looks nice, and I'm still getting the odd hitching every now and again where the screen stutters every now and again, but it only seems to be within the first few minutes of the game, and then it just seems to smooth out, which is really, really nice. And it is enjoyable. But the problem is I've been playing all of Battlefield 2042 just on my own, no one else in my party or anything like that. So I've been joining random squads. But what's cool about it is in your squad you can see the little PlayStation or Xbox symbol if they're on the console, which is really, really cool. So you can see who's on what. I've not tried Breakout mode, which Clarky has good. So I might actually just jump on that after the podcast. So if Clarky, if you're about, want to test out the crossplay on Breakout, then that's really, really cool. We can do that. The Portal mode, though, is what really stands out to me as the pinnacle of this game, because you don't even need to search for servers or anything like that. It's just like there's a menu and it says Battlefield 2042, Battlefield 3, or there's the Vietnam one or whatever as well. But I mainly just do the 2040, the Bad Company or the Battlefield 3 maps and game mode. So the Battlefield Bad Company one is Rush mode, and the Battlefield 3 one is the general conquest mode. Now, these game types run a hell of a lot smoother than the modern game modes. One, because the graphics aren't as good, and two, it's less players. So on the newer maps and game modes, it's 128 players, where the was 164. I can't fucking remember. Anyway, it's a lot. It's 164, something stupid. Whereas these ones are reduced. It's reduced in numbers. So obviously, it's not you're having to use as the CPU as much because there's less activity going on because there's less players running around the maps, and I think that's kind of what causes the issue with the newer maps a little bit. And I've been having a blast on it. It's still a little bit glitchy though, but I've actually found a way around the glitch that I was on about a couple of weeks ago, where on the Portal maps you can't equip your sights or your stuff to your gun, like your sights and your different ammo clips and your noob tubes underneath your gun or whatever you want to put on it, right? So because on the modern game mode, you press T on the keyboard or a button on your controller and it brings up your gun and you can swap out the attachments just on the fly, whereas that doesn't work on the Portal mode. But when you are about to spawn and you select your gun, you right-click it, or I don't know what button it is on the controller, and you bring up your gun and you can customize it like you do on the modern modes. But the attachments obviously don't jump on. But what you can do is there's a button to swap the attachments where they are on the line. So if you swap and put them on the bottom box, like a site, for example, when you launch in, whatever's on the bottom box for each of the attachment slots will just automatically be attached to your weapon when you load in. So that's kind of the way that I'm getting around that little glitch at the moment. So that's, and I just figured it out myself because I've been asking in the chat online and no one seems to give an answer, but I just kind of thought, I'll try this, and it seems to work. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, those classic maps are on there, and I'm on Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3, and I'm just really enjoying, especially Caspian Border. It's such a classic map in my opinion. It's always been one of my favourites. So just been playing that constantly, and it's just been a hell of a lot of fun. And on Bad Company 2, I can't remember the name of the map now, but when I played it, it just brought back a lot of memories as well, which was really, really nice. But in the modern game modes, as I say, it's running smoother now, which is great. Some of the maps are really, really well done, and especially with the weather effects and lighting and stuff, it really all comes together. But what I'm finding on the modern game modes is something just feels a little bit off still. I mean, I'm still having fun, but just the shooting itself, it just, I don't know if it's just me being a noob or what. It's just like I have my sights on someone, but half the bullets just seem to fucking miss. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't feel 100% spot on yet, but it certainly feels better than a few weeks ago. Perhaps I have not played it enough, I don't know, and I just need to learn the maps a little bit more and stuff. But I know a lot of people have been poo-pooing the game and giving it negative reviews and slagging it off and stuff like that, and I completely understand those reasonings. I mean, I've been one of those people that have been slagging it off myself, but I've been really wanting to give the game a chance. So I've been playing it a lot more, and I'm slowly getting to grips with it, and I can slowly see those issues being being worked out. So I think the game will be really, really good in about 6 months or so. That's going to take a bit of time, right? But for what it is at the moment, I think I do think it's fun, and I think if we manage to get a squad together, even now, we'd still manage to have fun on it, because a lot of these games, they have issues, but if you're playing with your mates, you can still have fun with them. So that's fine. So my trial has actually run out, so I've actually picked it up in the Black Friday sale for 35 quid, which I didn't think was a bad price at all. So it's raring to go. I've been playing it on the PC. I've got nothing to hinder me now. So Clarky, I'm always up for a game. I wanted to play with Clarky this afternoon, but his boy was playing Minecraft. His boy was hogging his Xbox playing Minecraft. So my suggestion to Clarky is to buy his son an Xbox Series S for Christmas, and gaming problem sorted, mate. He can be playing Minecraft and you can be playing some Battlefield. Job done. Easy peasy. So yeah, good times indeed. Okay, so there's that game out of the way. Okay, next I have been playing, give me a moment. Okay, bit of PlayStation then. I have been playing Sackboy's Big Adventure on the PlayStation 5. It's really good. Really, really fun. So the reason I've been playing this a lot is my little boy is obsessed with this at the moment. Absolutely obsessed with it. It's so obsessed where, in fact, my man cave no longer has a PS5 in it. The PS5 is downstairs in the living room, which means I can't play Gran Turismo at the minute with my wheel, just because I can't be asked to take it downstairs. But we've been having a blast with it. So I think it was Friday. Me and my boy played this for about 3 or 4 hours straight, just having a right laugh. The good thing about it, he's only little. He's 4 in a few weeks, and it's kind of that side-scrolling 2/3D, so it can be a little bit confusing to little kids because I find he falls off the world quite often. So what happens when you're playing co-op is the other person falls off, so it's just down to you controlling your sack boy or sack girl, and then you get to a point where they can respawn, so you can. And I actually find that quite helpful because I can actually just get us through sections just on my own, because it's a bit like playing Mario, right? You can get in each other's way sometimes, jumping on each other's heads and stuff, and completely cock things up. So just having that little bit of a respite from the co-op, just to get through some sections is quite good. But the graphics on it are absolutely amazing. The story is really, really good, really, really funny, really good for kids. And just the gameplay is so fun because every level has like a little theme to it, and it's a lot of fun. It's all and the graphics are really good in a sense. Not that they look great. I mean, yes, they do, but it's all done in a really cool, cartoony art style. Like so, Sackboy and all the characters look just like an actual cartoon, and then all the backgrounds look like these kind of cardboard cutout cartoons. If that makes sense, it's all just very nicely stylized, and that's what I really like about it, and that's what kind of makes it appeal to families especially. And as I say, that every level's themed, you've got different worlds that you go to as well, and all the worlds are themed differently. So you've got like an ice world, a volcano world, worlds of different animals, etc., which is really cool. So it keeps it all different, and it reminds me a little bit of Rayman in a way that you've got these musical levels as well with actual songs, and everything in the level is moving to the beat. So you have these certain enemies, different enemies that in other levels will kind of be moving in certain ways. But on these music levels, they move to the beat as well, which is really, really cool and really well done. So I really like that aspect of it as well. So it's a really, really good game, especially in co-op. You can actually play it up to 4-player co-op local, and you can also play it online as well. I've not tried the online at all because I say we've just been sitting there just having a blast playing couch co-op on it. So. And only 2-player because I've only got 2 PlayStation 5 controllers. They're not cheap, those controllers, so I won't be buying a third one just so my missus can play. But
is that on 4 and 5 or?
Yeah, it's on PlayStation 4 as well. Yes, but I've got the PS.
Would it let you play? Because you can use the PS4 controller on the PS5. Would it let you use one of those to play with it?
I have no idea because I don't have any PS4 controllers because I sold my PS4.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not something I've been able to try, mate, to be honest. I have no idea.
Oh, I did try.
Does it still have... I've forgotten the guy's name.
Stephen Fry?
Stephen Fry doing the narration, yeah.
Don't think so. I don't think he's been in it for years.
No, he's not in it. No. I think you're thinking of the Little Big Planet games, aren't you, in that regard?
I thought that's what you was talking about.
No, this is Sackboy's Big Adventure. So
right, yeah, well, same thing.
So it's the same character, but it's like, because obviously the Little Big Planets there's a lot of user created content and all that sorts of stuff, whereas this is just there's none of that. It's just an actual game like Mario in a weird way. You have your levels and you move from one level to the next on the main world sort of thing, right? And you have to beat that level to get to the next one. It's all done very, very well. Absolutely brilliant. Highlight, I think, actually. So there's that. Cool. Okay, so a week does not go by where at the minute where I'm not playing any racing games with the racing wheel. I'm still absolutely loving it. So I've been playing a lot. I'm just going to run through these quite quick and just talk about what I've been playing the most. So I have been playing Project Cars 3, and a lot of people and well, the reason I picked this up actually is because it got really bad reviews, and I was just like,
What,
I want to
Project
play.
Cars 3?
Yeah, it did. It got really bad reviews because apparently, well, and I can confirm, it's moved away from the first two Project Cars games because, as some of you might remember, a few weeks ago I talked about playing Project Cars 2, and it's a racing sim. Whereas Project Cars 3 moves away from that and is kind of a simcade. It's more arcade than sim. And it actually feels very much like a Need for Speed game. And as soon as some of the reviews said it feels like a Need for Speed game, I was like, I'm in. I want to give it a go. Yeah. And the reason why it's been slated so bad is because it's mainly the Project Cars fans are upset that they moved away from the pure racing sim, and I can understand that, right? Because you have a named game, right? Like Gran Turismo is a prime example. Imagine how much hate Polyphony would get if they brought out, I don't know, Gran Turismo 7 and it was a proper simcade game, right? Very much like Need for Speed. Because after playing Project Cars 2, it's very simmy. You know, you get your cars and you can tune them and all that sort of stuff, and away you go. And it is very realistic. And then you get into Project Cars 3, right? And it's like, you start off, and it does have real world tracks later on in the game, apparently, but at the beginning of the game, which is all I've done, its first few tracks, it's like these made up tracks, and they feel very Need for Speed, right? And you get your first car, and I've got a Mitsubishi Lancer, and you can tune it like a Need for Speed, like do your different alloy wheels and your spoilers and all that sort of stuff. And it feels very street racery, like a Need for Speed. And when you're actually racing, it doesn't feel simmy at all. Like, there's a lot of drifting around the corners, which obviously you don't do in real life racing, right? This is very much like, you think of a Need for Speed game, or even like a Forza Horizon. You get to a corner, you tap the brake, and then you're doing this massive power slide around the corner. Yeah, this is what Project Cars is like. And I'm actually having a little bit of fun with this because it's a little bit of a challenge, because I'm playing it with the racing wheel, and the wheel feels great with it, but it's just getting it. If I'm trying to power slide around a corner using the wheel, I fucking end up just spinning out every time. So I'm just trying to learn to actually do it properly where I don't spin out, and it's just a little bit of a learning curve. So I'm actually having some fun with it, to be honest. Graphically it looks nice, but not amazing or anything like that. But it does look decent. But it's just the fact that what piqued my interest about this game was the fact that it been bombarded with all these bad reviews, and I just wanted to experience it for myself, and I'm actually having quite a bit of fun with it. So if you're looking for kind of a simcade type of racer, apparently it's really good with the controller, according to some user reviews I've read. So it might be worth checking out if you're into those sort of games. So I thought I'd just mention it, to be honest. It's a fun little game, and I'm going to be playing some more of it hopefully this week.
That looks good. I might have a go on that, like when that goes relatively cheap. So I remember playing the first one, and it was just like really, really hard, like over the top simmy. So you can understand why they would change it, because even if like the hardcore fans like it being really difficult and simmy, if no one's buying it, then the company's going to go pear-shaped, aren't they?
Yeah, well, this is the reasons why they made it more arcade, is because they wanted to appeal more to a mass market and also to more console gamers as well, because obviously the sim community is really big on PC, obviously, but on console, the only really hardcore simmy community is on Gran Turismo, and the rest, just like to sit back on the sofa with their controller and just enjoy a racing game, right? And that's understandable. And that's something that I enjoy myself, right? And it reminds me of Project Cars a little bit in a way. Project Cars. Fucking hell, the name's just gone from me now. That Bizarre Creations game. Not Assetto Corsa. No, do you remember the old Project Gotham Racing?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the way it reminds me of that is you get. Do you remember when you used to get the kudos for like doing like really good drifts and stuff like that? Yeah, when you were playing it. Well, in this you get XP for doing really good drifts and doing the corners, really well and all that sort of stuff as well. So it's kind of got that element in it as well, which is really, really cool. Yeah, it's a fun little game actually, and I picked up because it was on sale. It was like, I think I picked up for like £7 or something ridiculous. So
it was on PC, yeah.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it's on consoles as well, right? Obviously, it's been Black Friday and stuff like that. The game's about a year old, so I'm pretty sure you can pick it up cheap on the console as well. But yeah, man, it's a fun little game. It really, really is. So, okay, all right. I'm just gonna quickly move on. So, obviously, for my simulation racing, I've been playing Assetto Corsa and Assetto Corsa Competizione. So I've only played a little.
In them two?
Okay, so and there's quite a big difference between the two. I have to say I've played more Competizione this week, and I'll get to the reasons why shortly. But both games are really, 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 really good graphically. I mean, Assetto Corsa came out in like 2014, and it looks stunning even now. But the big difference is, Nikki, is Assetto Corsa. It has a bigger array of cars, so you're going all the way from like your street cars, like your, I don't know, your Ford Focus or whatever, your Nissan Skylines and all that sort of stuff, all the way up to, your F1 cars and stuff. So it has a massive, massive library of cars, and it has a massive library of tracks as well, like everyone's favourite, Nürburgring Nordschleife, my personal favourite track in any racing game. Whereas Assetto Corsa Competizione focuses on a smaller selection of cars, so that all your GT3 and GT4 cars is actually the official game of those series now as well. So it has a smaller array of cars and a smaller array of tracks. Now, you'd probably think to yourself, well, that's fucking shit. But it's actually good in a way that they've focused on less cars and less tracks, to focus more on the simulation, the feel of the game, and the graphics. It uses a different engine, and it looks absolutely stunning. And the feel of the cars is just, it is. I can go out on a limb now and say it's the best game for me that I've played with my wheel in regards to the feel of the car, the road, the apex, everything like that, with a steep learning curve as well. Every car feels slightly different, and it feels like you're driving a real car. It really, really does. And the other day I played it for about 3 or 4 hours straight, and I'd come off and I was sweating. I was like, oh my God, I just felt like I'd been in an endurance race or something, because the concentration you have to play it is just out of this world. So the reason why I was doing that is because I hadn't actually, so with all these racing games that I've been playing, I hadn't even really touched the career modes much. So on Assetto Corsa, I started the career mode, and it starts you off in these Fiat 500s, not very fast or whatever, but I was really struggling, and it took me a while to even beat a car in a 12-car, race. This is how hard these games are. So anyway, I went on to Competizione, and because Wes was like, right, I want to do some online with you, blah, blah, blah. So, all right, cool, I want to get into it then, and I want to play. So the first thing, right, is when you're racing with the wheel, you want inside the car view, where you can see everything. And it's just, Assetto Corsa does it really, really well, but with Competizione, it's like on another level. It's like you hit everything. You whack your headphones up when you're playing it. It's the soundscape inside these cars is just absolutely insane. It sounds real. It sounds like you're there. They put so much effort into the sounds, like you're hearing the engine and the brakes going when you're braking, and it's all the little rattles in the car as you're going down the road. You hit an apex, like it sounds like you're there, and with the feedback on the wheel at the same time, it all just kind of comes together, and it's learning the tracks. Like, so what you'll find is when you're doing the single player on this, and this is where it does a really good job of teaching you, because like you have to do these before you even do any races or whatever. It's like, right, you're in this young drivers team, you got to drive around the track for 10 minutes, you need to get a couple of laps without coming off and learn the corners, and then you do another practice, and then you actually get into the season when you start racing, but you do it all through properly. So you have your 2 practice sessions, and you have your 2 time trial sections, for your ranking on the grid or whatever, and then you get into your races. So it's all very methodical, right? And the reason for that is you're going around and you're learning the track each time you do a lap. And I thought to myself, oh, this is going to be so fucking boring. I'm just doing the same fucking track over and over again, man. I can't be asked with it. But something clicks when you're doing that, especially with a wheel, because what happens is you slowly learn, like you learn like an actual race driver does. You learn the track, and each lap you do, obviously up to a point, you can see your lap times slowly getting quicker and quicker and quicker, right? Every time, because you're learning when to brake, how to take each corner, and you just kind of get in the zone as you're playing it, man. And it's like, I probably look like a gormless idiot when I'm playing these games, but it's like I'm literally sitting there, on the wheel, and I'm just concentrating, like, right, I've got to brake here for this corner, and it's just something quite satisfying when you get a perfect lap. And what I mean by that is you've done a lap, you've not come off the track, you've not hit any walls, you feel like you've done every corner really, really well, and you've beaten your last lap time, yeah. And while you're doing it, there's this little meter in the corner, and the game knows when you've done like a good corner and a good sector and all that sort of, because it's color code. It has a color code for each sector of the lap, right? So it will tell you, your performance in each sector. It'll say, oh, this, wasn't as good as last time, or you weren't as good on this corner, trying to improve that or whatever. So you're learning, as you're playing it, and it's just so satisfying, man. I'm loving it. And this racing wheel, the G923 wheel, the feedback on it is insane, and it just feels very accurate. And it's just very immersive when you're in a racing game inside view and you're using a wheel. It's one of those peripherals that, I've had wheels in the past and have been shit. So it's actually been really nice to have a wheel that feels really, really nice and works well with a variety of games, which is really, really cool. So yeah, it's been a really, really good time on the Assetto Corsa Competizione this week, and I'm going to be playing it some more, learning more tracks, going through the campaign, and maybe hitting up some races online.
Has that got cross-play in it with the console?
No, it hasn't. No.
Oh, that's good, because I bought this on Xbox last week. It was on sale for like £11.
Oh, right.
I only played it for like half an hour because they kept shouting at me and telling me to get off the track for some reason. I don't think I was very good. But it was like, so it was £11, and apparently in February it's getting a Series X and S upgrade.
Excellent.
So that'll be good. But I only played it for about half an hour, so once I've played it more, maybe when the new update comes, I'll talk about it a bit more then. We'll see if it's any better.
Yeah, I mean, obviously on the PC, it's already had that update and it looks really nice, etc., etc. I would be interested to know what it feels like with a controller, because I can imagine. Obviously,
it's very hard.
Yeah, because as I say, I mean, it's a super simmy, and I think the game has really been designed to play with a racing wheel, to be honest. But I imagine you could get good with it on a controller, but I think it'd be quite difficult to master, to be honest.
I tried playing the in-car view like what you got on the Twitch, on the YouTube. It just looked really jarring because as I was moving left and right, his hands were moving like super fast and like the steering wheel was just blurring like hell.
Right.
Maybe that's what it was doing. But obviously, watching this guy with the steering wheel is moving the same as, in the game as what's on the steering wheel. So maybe that's what that is. But
yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, you get more control with a wheel in regards to, you only moving the wheel a little bit, whereas with a thumbstick, maybe you'll just push it all the way to the left or the right, and obviously on a car, that's going to be like putting it on full lock within seconds, right?
so
maybe you need to be
corrections with a wheel. You can't really do that with a.
Yeah, well, unless you get quite nimble with your thumbstick and only move it in small amounts, I suppose. Same with the trigger, right? Because obviously you're using pedals, so you can, if you put your pedal to the floor when you're going around a corner with a rear-wheel drive car, 9 times out of 10 you're going to spin it outright. Whereas if you do some throttle control, you're can control the car a lot better. Now on a controller with these modern controllers with your triggers, my advice would be don't slam it all the way down. Do a little bit of the throttle control with your trigger, right? And I feel that works quite well. I mean, I've played a lot of Gran Turismo Sport with a controller and played it like that, and I'm pretty damn good at it with a controller. To be honest with you, I was getting some really good lap times on that. But obviously now I've got the wheel. I've been enjoying that with the wheel, and I've now gotten used to it. Now, what I did find with Gran Turismo though was because I played a lot of it with a controller and then went to a wheel, it took me a long time to adjust to using a wheel because I've been so used to using it with a controller. So.
Yeah, because I remember when I started, like you said, at the start, I just floored it, and I just done a burnout, just burnt all my wheels and my tyres up, and I wasn't moving. I was like, why am I not moving? The game is broken. And I was like, okay, feather it like a real car,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, it's strange how far racing sims have come. I think. I mean, because Gran Turismo, it used to be the real driving simulator, but I think. These games are more realistic. The Assetto Corsa games, they take it up to that super simulation level. Now, I mean, Turk Monkey's asked in the chat if I adjust my car setup after practice laps, like the tire PSI and suspension and stuff like that, and you can actually do that. It's just something that I don't know anything about, so I don't touch any of those options. But all those options are there, like changing your downforce and all so many options, man. I'm just like, it's all gobbledygook to me, so I just play with the standard settings, to be honest with you. And it depends on and so there's other settings as well. So. Depending on, because there's so many settings on this game, like for the difficulty, so you can actually set it up so everything is affected, like your tire temperatures after lap, obviously they get hotter, your tire wear, your fuel, and all that sort of stuff. So you can turn those on and off for the single player and the multiplayer, etc. I just play with those kind of things that off so they don't affect it, just because I'm still trying to get used to it, just how it is, to be honest, and then I'll slowly increase it as I get more playtime into it. But I'm still, as I say, just getting used to it, so I've not got all those extra settings on, because I think it's just a bit too much for a newbie like myself, to be honest. So Daz Pos also asks, any thoughts for a new driver setup for Gran Turismo 7 for the wheel? So it depends on your budget, actually, to be honest. So obviously the Logitech wheels are really good standard of wheel. So the as I say, the one that I've got is the latest model, the G923. And that's actually a really nice wheel for most people. And that comes in around £350. And then if you want to buy the shifter, that's another 30-40 quid on top. But you actually, to be honest, you don't need the shifter. Because most of the time, you want to use the paddles on the wheel because you're shifting a lot quicker and not having to use the clutch as well. But if you want to go super simmy, there's a brand out there called Fanatec, which is the premium wheels and pedals. And for Gran Turismo 7, they've actually brought one out specifically for that, so if you go to the Fanatec website, I saw it advertised today. It's got the Gran Turismo logo on the wheel, and you can actually use all these wheels on PC as well. So that's really, really cool. And that's actually right. So this Gran Turismo one is actually on their budget line, and that's priced at £700. And if you want to go to the most premium of the Fanatec's, I think they go up to £2,000 or so.
An actual car for that.
Yeah, and they're so Wes. So the reason why Wes sent me this Logitech wheel is because he bought that super expensive Fanatec one, and apparently it's super amazing, and they do look really, really nice. So again, it's all down to budget. At the end of the day, for most people, I would recommend the Logitech. I wouldn't go to any of the other cheaper brands, to be honest, because the problem is because I've had cheap wheels in the past, and it's just the force feedback is just so shit on them, and they don't feel too great, and whereas this Logitech wheel I think feels just right, to be honest. And it does depend on the game, right? So on Gran Turismo, the settings are all dialed in already for Gran Turismo on the Logitech, so the force feedback is really nice and it just feels very smooth. But on some of the PC games, you need to kind of dial in the settings a little bit. So I just watch a YouTube video and just copy someone else's that they've done, and I've been fine. So
your wheel work on the PS5 as well? Because
So
some of the like headsets and things like that from the last gen don't work on the new gen, sort of thing. So if they want to get something like that, just is there one that works for? Or like yours, like PC, PS5, and Xbox, that sort of thing?
No. So they either work on PlayStation and PC or Xbox and PC.
But yeah, a lot of them do that.
Yeah. I mean, you can buy these little adapter things, these unofficial adapter things, are about £80, and which allow you to use, say, the PlayStation one on the Xbox or the Xbox one on the PlayStation. But I don't know how good they are, to be honest. So. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, and so I'm liking the wheel. I mean, I've got it on a stand and I play it at my desk. But the only thing I do find playing it, because I'm sitting in my PC chair, if I press down on the brake pedal too hard, it pushes my seat back, and that's the only little bit of annoyance. So but I don't have room in my house anywhere for one of those rigs. Like people get the actual seat. And they get it all together, you know what I mean? I just don't have the room. I just physically don't have the room for that. So this is about as far as I can go, and it is enjoyable, to be honest. So it's just something I wasn't expecting to be so much fun. Just, wow, it's just, I feel like I'm racing these cars. It's just so fucking good. Okay, I'm going to move on, because I've been going on for ages. So I've gone down a little bit of a rabbit hole this week. Skyrim has pulled me back into its depths, and I'm loving it, man. Oh man! So I've actually got Skyrim on the Switch. So I was sitting on the sofa last week, just bored out of my mind. I was like, I'll put Skyrim on. Started playing it on the Switch. I was like, why am I playing this on the Switch? I've got the remastered version on the PC, and I've got a gaming laptop downstairs as well. So I've been playing a lot of Skyrim this week, chopping and changing between the gaming laptop downstairs and my PC upstairs, because obviously the good thing about Steam is your cloud saves, right? You turn the game off downstairs, come upstairs, carry on upstairs. Good times. And
was this the new super one with fishing?
No, I haven't paid the money for that fucking stupid. It's not even. It's all it is. It's like DLC content. 17 quid for some fishing, and I don't know what else it's got. No, I refuse to buy that. I just want to play the main game. And what's really weird, and just the game got into my mind a little bit, because we did the music show a few weeks back, and it just, whenever I listen to the soundtrack from Skyrim, it just really puts me in the mood for playing it. And I've gone down the rabbit hole because I've been playing it a lot, and I'm just really enjoying it. Just that ambiance, you're just walking through a beautiful forest, and the music's playing, and the butterflies are flying around. And I know the game's really old now, but I still like the graphics are still good enough where you can get fully immersed into that world. So I'm just going through the story slowly. I've joined the Legion of Doom, the bad guys, because fuck it, I'm gonna just be an arsehole in this playthrough and do that, and I'm just enjoying playing through it, man. And it is a little bit clunky, as I say, like as we all know, with the mechanics of the fighting and stuff like that. But it's one of those games. It's like, and I don't play a lot of games more than once, but it's one of those games that you can just go back to. And I mean, I had a save on my PC when I was playing it a year or two ago, and I just carried on with it, and I was just quite happy because I know what happened in the story anyway, because I played it, on the Xbox as well. So it's one of those games that you can put down for quite a while and then just come back to it and just be like, yeah, I'm going to go off and carry on the adventure, and it doesn't, really matter if I can remember everything that happened before or whatever. It's just fun. So. Just
those
really,
games you could just like start playing, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, it's 1 a.m. What's going on?
Yeah, it's exactly like that, because it's just, I'll just do this. Oh, I'll just do that. Oh, I've got all these quests to do. Yeah, it's fine. And you just find yourself just getting immersed into that world.
The word. I think that's one of the most immersive games
it is
ever made. You just get in there and you just play. It's like your brain switches off from anything outside the game. That's just like kind of relaxing.
It is, and it's just this game. I mean, and I know it's got its issues with the combat, especially, but it's nigh on one of those games that I could personally say is on the verge of perfection, because everything else just comes together so well. The world. The actual world design itself is just amazing. Like, you just be walking around and it's just so. And what's really good about it, you got your little compass on the top of the screen, and it will show you, you're kind of close to a little town or a cave or something, and then it goes from. Like, it fades in on the map as you're getting closer, and it just gives you that sense that you just want to explore and find all these little areas as you're going along. And whilst you're doing that, you got this really nice music playing in the background, and everything just looks so pretty, and it all just that exploration just feels so nice. And it just, it does say something. This game is 10 years old now, and people are still playing it a lot. There's been multiple versions of it. There hasn't been a sequel to it yet, because I think this is going to be really hard to beat. It really, really is. It's just one of those games that when I play it, it just puts a smile on my face. Like, if I'm in a bad mood or something like that, I'll play it and it will just completely change my whole mood, because I just enjoy playing this game and just love that exploration, doing the story, having some fights or whatever. Just whatever's happening in the game, it's just, I would say it's a work of art, because it's just so damn perfect in those senses. Yeah, and I don't think people really give it enough credit for the actual world itself, because it's just, everything just seems to be placed so well as you're going around, like all the different areas. Nothing's like, there's always something to do, and it's just, I love this game so much. It's so good. Yeah. So yeah, I've gone down the rabbit hole a little bit with Skyrim this week, and I'm really, really enjoying it.
Who do you normally have as your companion, and why is it not Lydia?
You know what? On this playthrough, I don't even have a companion yet.
Oh, Billy, no mates.
Yeah, I'm just on my own. But I'm sure when I get a companion, it'll be, I don't know. What companions do you get with it? I can't fucking remember the companions now. Do you get a dog? I think you get a dog in it, don't you? You can get a dog.
No, that's Fallout.
I'm thinking of Fallout. Oh. I can't remember then. I don't know.
Yeah, Lydia, the girl who looks a bit like Lara Croft. Then you get the big eye lizard man or whatever his name is. I can't remember.
Oh, yeah, I remember the lizard dude, yeah.
I have Lydia.
Yeah, okay.
Joy says, no, which it's hilarious. She just says, I'm sworn to carry your burdens. So I'm like, great, carry all this heavy shit so I'm not encumbered.
Okay, cool. Okay, so last game I've been playing this week, and I'm pretty sure I'm getting kind of towards the end now. When I look on my Ubisoft account, I'm about 70% through now. And I don't know if that's counting, just main story, because they usually count all the side stuff as well in these things. So, yeah, I'm not sure, but it feels like I'm getting there slowly. Far Cry 6. This game is freaking awesome, and I don't think this has been praised enough this year. I think it got some quite a lot of negativity when it came out, if memory serves correct. But I'm having a blast with this. Now, the reason I've been playing it, right, and this is a really odd thing, right? So, I only subscribed to Uplay Plus for a month to try and bang this out, and I installed Assassin's Creed and a few other games. Anyway, obviously we all know that Halo came out and Forza came out, so got distracted with those two, didn't really play much Far Cry. I was thinking, oh man, my Uplay Plus has run out. I'm going to have to fucking resubscribe to this. Anyway, I just thought, well, you know what? I'm just going to try and launch Far Cry anyway. And it's fucking working. Like, it's really bizarre. Like, my Uplay Plus is definitely expired, because when I go onto my Ubisoft account, it says your Uplay Plus is expired. Please resubscribe. Blah blah blah. But when I go to all my games that I've installed through Uplay Plus, it says that my Uplay Plus is active and it allows me to launch the games. So I'm not subscribed and I'm still playing Far Cry, which is amazing. And I've been waiting for it to get to a point where it says you're not subscribed anymore, you can't launch a game, but it's not happened. And my Uplay Plus ran out on the 22nd of November, so it's been nearly a week. It's been run out and the games are still launching. Really odd. So I hope this glitch continues. It's so cool. But anyway, into the game. It's a really well designed open world. I would actually go to as far to say it's one of the better designed maps of the Far Cry series. And what I really like about it, as I mentioned before, is all the areas that you haven't explored are all greyed out, but you don't open them up to see if they are with towers or anything like that. You just need to travel them, and then and then the area changes, and you can see the little bits and pieces that are around in that area. I don't feel super overwhelmed when playing this, like in previous games, or like in typical Ubisoft games, like some of the Assassin's Creed games or whatever, where it's just stuff all over the map. I need to go and play them. Oh my goodness. I just find that I'm concentrating on the main story and doing the odd side stuff when it comes up. So the ones that are really important to do, there's these anti-aircraft guns dotted around the map. Go and do those, because if you don't do them, you can't fast travel to do airdrops. So you can fast travel to all the different bases around the map, but there's another option to airdrop, which is really handy for just getting to mission markers quite quick, because you airdrop from quite high, press the button for your wingsuit and just glide super close to those objectives. So it just makes life easier, a hell of a lot easier. And it's just, again, everything comes together really, really well with this game. The gameplay is absolutely fantastic. The diverse array of weapons and the attachments you can have on the guns is really, really cool. And it is, and I believe I've mentioned this before. This is another game that's has a very immersive world, because it's all in first person. The graphics are very, very beautiful, and And it's just when you're going around, again, the sound design is very good. The graphics, as I said, are stunning. And it's just, and that storyline is just really, really well done. So there's all these different characters you meet along your journey to liberate this island from this brutal dictator. And it's just done in a really good way where you'll get moments where the dictator appears, not to fight you or anything like that, just to kick the story along. Like, you all do stuff, and then cutscene will happen, and he's like, "What do you do?" You know, to his generals, and it just has some really good cutscenes and stuff like that. To G the story along. All the characters you meet along the way have really interesting personal stories as to why they're fighting as guerrillas. Now, the game is actually split up into different guerrilla factions, and your kind of main task is to get them actually to all to work together to take down the dictator. And they have some really interesting stories, backstories, etc., as to why they don't want to work all together. They'd want to do their own thing. You know, there's all that politics involved between different factions, why some of them don't like each other and stuff like that. And it's just very, very interesting. It pulls you along, really, in a really interesting way, because you go and work with all of these different guerrilla factions, and you actually understand their stories. But eventually, I mean, I haven't finished it, but I'm guessing eventually you get them all to work together, right? And you save the day and liberate the island. Dazpaz asks if it's worth dropping the money on. I actually would say yes, especially if you can pick it up in a sale.
Yeah, it's been about £35. I think I've seen it for in.
Yeah.
So, like Tesco's has it for 35 anyway. Got the supermarkets.
Yeah. You know, and if I'd paid that for it, I mean, I'd be more than happy, to be honest with you, because actually, it's a very good length. This game, I've put in over 20 hours already, and obviously I haven't finished it, and I haven't got bored of it yet. So that's obviously a good thing, because I'm one of those people who get bored of games quite easily. But yeah, as I say, it has those classic Far Cry parts in the game. You know, you can have a companion. I have this tiger that comes around with me, and you can just send it off to kill the enemies, which is quite cool. You have a lot of variety of vehicles. You can have a car with like a minigun on top. You can have helicopters and planes, boats, if you want to travel around the map in any of those vehicles, which is quite cool. But what I find myself doing a lot of the time is, because I'm a lazy bastard, is I'll fast travel airdrop to the nearest base and just kind of glide in on my wingsuit to the next mission area, drop down near it, and then just tackle the area in a way that I see fit. So you can go in all guns blazing if you want, or go in sneaky. I tend to go in sneaky to these areas because a lot of them have alarms, so I like to take out the alarms so they can't call in for backup, which is really, really cool. And there is a variety of ways of getting into these areas. Like, you'll find like underground areas that you can get in and pop in through the sewer system, or you could go in from the top. There's lots of grapple points, etc. Yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff you can do in this game, and it's just, again, I think it's just been overlooked this year a little bit, and it's actually really, really fun, for one, but two, it's not broken, it's not glitchy, it's a game that actually fucking works, which is very, very rare these days. So I have to give...
Sure, Ubisoft made it.
Well, this is what I've been thinking, because Ubisoft are well known for launching games that are broken as fuck, but this is spot on. It really, really is. It works really well.
This get delayed quite a long time as well.
I think it did get delayed a little bit, and I think it needed it, and I'm glad they did, because they've actually released a really good game here. It works. It looks nice. It sounds good. You know, the story is brilliant. I always forget the main actor's name. The dude from Breaking Bad.
Esposito.
Mate, he is absolutely brilliant in this. Like, he is the perfect bad guy, and he plays his role in this game so well. Like, his performance is absolutely brilliant in this, and he's in it quite a bit as well. And yeah, it's a really good game, and I do think it's one of the better games that has actually come out this year. And I know not a lot of people have actually played it yet because obviously it's Ubisoft, and a lot of people have that negativity associated with them, and I don't blame you for that, 100%. But if you enjoy Far Cry games, especially, this is definitely one to check out. It is really, really good. And I think, it'll give you a solid 25 to 30 hours plus of gameplay if you just want to bang out the main campaign. So, yeah, that is my review of Far Cry. It is brilliant, and I'm hoping to finish it. Well, hopefully I can get it done this week. It'd be nice. But who knows?
If you get to the last mission, I'd say, sorry, your Uplay Plus is expired.
Yeah, you know what? If that happens, I'll just subscribe. I don't care. I'll just do another month. I don't care. Or I will gladly do it to finish this game. It's cool. Yes, it's all good. Plus, I've got a couple of Ubisoft games downloaded I want to carry on playing, like a bit of Royal Rogers Republic, and I really want to do the Assassin's Creed DLCs as well, because it's been quite a while since I played Assassin's Creed now, so I'm kind of itching to get back into that world as well. So it's loads of games to play.
Well, there is a rumour
I heard a rumour
we're going to get a Year 2 season pass for Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Oh my goodness. Wow. That's a big
With
game.
2 new massive expansions and stuff to come. So
wow.
If you hold off, there'll probably be no Assassin's Creed next year.
Well,
maybe pick them both up then in the sale. Like, you can guarantee the first season pass for Valhalla will be in the sale by then. Or you
I don't need to.
Ubisoft Connect or whatever and job done.
Well, that's it, because you get the ultimate editions of all the games, you see. That's why I sub to it and bang out a game and then unsub, I just find that a cheaper way, just for me personally. Yeah. All good. Well, that is all the games I've been playing. It's been quite a lot of games this week, but it's been very good. And Nicky Wilson, go for it.
All right. The game I've been playing, it's a little game, not many people have heard of it, called FIFA 22. I think many people say that, but
that's a bit of an indie title, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's an indie title. I think that's what it is. So people might have to look up, to find out what it's called. But I'm not saying that. This could be the last FIFA if what's happening is true. They're arguing and losing the licenses, aren't they?
Oh, really? I didn't know. I didn't know about this.
Fallout of money. So this could be the last FIFA as we know it. So it could be some kind of EA soccer whatever next year. So the license is up, and I think that's all down to money. So they may eventually just pay whatever, but this could be the last FIFA.
What was the rebranding of Pro Evolution that they sort of released as a free to play this year?
Yeah, that was a complete car crash, and that's pretty much killed it.
It was an Eldritch horror, basically. But I'm wondering if they get hold of the licenses.
Pro Soccer or something stupid.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Can you? I don't think Konami have the money to pay for this license, because you know what FIFA are like. They're going to charge a fuck ton of money for the licensing for this game, aren't they? A lot.
Yeah,
and I only think EA are the only company with the financial clout to pay it, to be honest.
I mean,
Konami have got money.
They know they want it, don't they?
Just not their games division. I mean, Konami basically went into sort of gambling games and things like that, pachinko machines and such, which is big money.
Yeah.
And that was making far more money for them than their gaming division, which is why they kind of moved away from gaming. Right. And to be honest, if you're going to do that, that's fine. But at least allow other third parties to come in and pay you money to loan your licensed IPs.
Yeah.
And then take a cut of the profits.
With Konami. So a lot of companies like that. It's like, if they don't want to do it, fine. Just, let's say, rent it out to whoever. Then the fans are happy. They don't have to gamble paying money to make games that might not make a profit, and they can
that's
still
it.
make
Yeah,
good
someone
money.
comes in and goes, "Here's X amount of millions to use your IP. We will make the game. It's going to cost you nothing." And obviously, due to some other contract thing, you're bound to take a percentage of the profits what we make from our game as well. It's like a win-win.
Yeah. But a lot of these companies, they'd rather not make any money than do that. I don't know why. That's why I said, like older games that you can't buy anymore and stuff like that. And people try to get the licenses to, sell them. They just can't be asked.
So that Pro Evo game is called eFootball. It's basically a live service, right? Where I don't know how they make money. Do you pay for players? Do you pay for a fee every so often, or what? I don't know, because it's just it's like football game as a service, right? And I think that's kind of what EA don't want to do, because they make so much fucking money from selling the same game every year with a different number on the end, right?
Yeah, probably. I mean, that's what it wouldn't surprise me if they'll just pay it, but because they know EA have got it. I mean, they're making billions from all these a year of all their games, of all these loot boxes and stuff like that. So,
the packs, yeah, what they fucking call
all the I forgot what it's called.
Ultimate Team.
Ultimate Team,
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons. Like I say, I haven't played FIFA since FIFA 10 on a 360. For someone who does like football, that's just because they all seem to be getting the same every year. Then I saw, like I said, they started all this Ultimate Team and stuff like that, and they're putting all their time and money into that and not really making the game any good. Because, I mean, I noticed that I looked for Battlefield, there was a 10-hour trial of this, so that's how I've played it.
Yeah.
And other than the graphics, they look a little bit nicer. Some of the characters, some of the players, you could tell who they are. Some of them not at all.
Yeah.
I think I played it for about 3-4 hours and I'm bored already. It's pretty much exactly the same as what it was 12 or 13 FIFAs ago.
But FIFA's one of those games, right? I think the longevity with these games is playing it online or playing it with your mates or whatever, right?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I just think it's just the same where get through one goal, you either tap it ever so slightly to like tap it into the net, or if you hold shoot any longer than that, you just blast it over. So you can't. It's hard. Maybe some of the really good players can do stuff like that. Take on 3 or 4 players and like curl it into the top corner. I can't. But I mean, like I said, it was part of the 10-hour trial. So
what the fuck has actually happened to EA? Like, they were one of the biggest games publishers going, like, for at least the last 3 or 4 gens of consoles.
Yeah.
And they had so many titles, and now all they've got is FIFA and Madden.
It's really odd
that they seem to put out.
It is odd,
and
because you look back...
and it's like a minimum effort for those games as well. That seems to be people's complaints of them. It's like you haven't really added much from the last year's iteration, apart from updating the players and such. And like modes have been stripped out and changed and such. I mean, you think of all the games they used to have under their belt, all the different like companies and divisions, which they've now sort of either closed down or shuttered and whatnot.
Yeah.
What are they doing now? Like, they've got BioWare, but BioWare haven't done anything of note for God knows how long, and pretty much all of the people that started that studio have now left.
It's shit, mate. I mean, as I was trying to say, you look back to the 360 era in particular, how many games they pushed out during, the 360 and PS3 life cycle, and most of them were really good quality. You got the Dead Space series, you got Dragon Age, just to name a couple. They just seem to be pumping out good games all the fucking time, and then all of a sudden they just seem to hit a brick wall, and they sold or closed down all these little companies, as you said, that they owned, and now they only seem to push out a few games. Criterion,
Maxis, they got rid of as well.
Yeah.
They start doing a lot of like indie titles as well, like going with other companies and like.
Oh, true. Yeah, I suppose.
Smaller games.
aren't EA the ones that basically sort of bankrolled like the Joseph Fares games, like It Takes Two and that? So yeah, there are
something like that. I think they did some of those, didn't they? I think that's like a lot of companies. Basically, they get so successful and make so much money, the big wigs take over, and then they're making the calls, and they're like, "Why are you bothering with all these stupid games when FIFA and Madden, like all the money, billions through these packs? You're just wasting money." Putting these other games out there, that's time, that's game time. People could be playing that when they're not buying Ultimate Team packs. I think that's what that comes down to.
But people will only put up with that for so long.
Well, the bubble will eventually burst, and then EA stocks will crash, and they'll lose licenses, which is what they're talking about. And then eventually that'll all just fall apart, and then they'll
Isn't it a funny old game? Because obviously we're talking about EA, once a big publisher. Ubisoft haven't been doing particularly brilliant as of late with their own little controversies and things going on behind the scenes. And Blizzard,
look at them now. I mean, Activision Blizzard, I mean, they've got their own things going on, right, with all the sexual harassment suits going on and court cases and stuff. But it's not just that; it's the fact that their games they've been getting quite lazy as well, right? You look at World of Warcraft. Obviously, an MMO isn't going to last forever, right? But every expansion they brought out was apparently, according to the fans, was just made the game worse and worse and worse, which is not what an MMO should do, right?
Well, I think it was riding pretty well until Mr. Pandaria. I think that's when people started to kind of be like this.
Yeah, and then
isn't
obviously
the game coming up on like 20 years old nearly.
It's got to be at least 15, I'd say.
Something 2004, I want to say 2004. It came out. World of Warcraft.
Yeah. Something like that. I mean, Final Fantasy 11 come out around the same time, and that's still going as well. But no one mentions that. That's still going. Subscription as well. Well, it's still got a player base. I mean, yeah, it's not as good. I mean, I don't think it was that great, but it's still going, right? Yeah, but then you looked at Activision Blizzard. I mean, they upset their fans when they were announcing a new Diablo. Then it was a fucking shitty mobile phone game, and the whole crowd's like, boo. You know what I mean? It just
that literally was the fact that Tencent, one of the companies that have obviously got a lot of money invested in Blizzard, and they're a Chinese company that are huge into like the mobile game market. So that's why they advertise that there. But it's people don't go to cons to hear about bloody mobile games, to be honest, unless it's like specifically for mobile titles.
Oh, and talking about mobile phone games, actually, sorry, Nikki, that Final Fantasy game came out, that Battle Royale game. Yeah, I downloaded it, gave it a go.
Is it horrific,
it's so bad. But apparently,
it looks nice.
Apparently, you can use a controller with it. So I might actually give it another go with the controller. But I just hate using a touch screen on those sort of games. It's so awful. But it's all like the map I played was the slums, Sector 7 slums with the Seventh Heaven and all that, and that was quite cool.
It's supposed to be set before the events of 7, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I know, First Soldier, I think it's called, isn't it?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I mean, the graphics aren't. It's a phone game, so it's not going to be great.
Well, they're good for a phone game, like.
Right. Anyway, sorry to chime in, and because we were talking about companies falling from grace, so I did want to get to Ubisoft just very quickly. I mean, I think Ubisoft are still doing okay because obviously they're pumping out games like Far Cry 6, right? Which I think is awesome. But then they do make some really strange decisions with some of their games, don't they? Like they brought out that Battle Royale game. What was it called? Farscape or something? Hyperscape.
Yeah, I mean, Hyperscape, but that was, yeah.
But they still pump out, the Assassin's Creed games always do very well, Far Cry very well. Immortals Phoenix Rising, very good game, very underrated in my opinion. And then they do try and do new things like with Riders Republic. But they have decimated some game series, like the Ghost Recon series has gone downhill. They're bringing out that Battle Royale type Ghost Recon game, which looks awful. The new Rainbow Six game is out very soon, in a week or two actually. Rainbow Six Extraction, or I think it's called. Fucking god awful.
I mean, at least it's not an open world game with activities everywhere, like which seems to be the Ubisoft MO. Because there was someone at the company, wasn't there, that was like, "Oh, we could use this template on every single one of our franchises."
Yeah, that's
and
it.
A lot of their games all seemed the same. And I think one of the reasons why they possibly have struggled with the Beyond Good and Evil stuff is they're trying to work out how they can turn that into an open world game similar to their others. But there's a lot of people starting to go off of that game type.
Yeah, 100% agree, mate. So I mean, it's just strange, isn't it? Like, I mean, nothing ever lasts forever, right? With all with anything, but it's just really odd to see these mammoth companies just getting very lazy. Like, I look at Activision Blizzard and EA in particular, and I know the Call of Duty games sell very well every year, as they always do. But the last two COD games I've not even purchased because I've just lost all interest in the campaigns of those games, man. Completely lost interest. And there was a time where we would buy the titles every year because they were amazing.
Imagine running up to yourself when you was a kid in the 90s and saying like, "Oh, by the way, in the future, Sega are going to stop making consoles and they're just going to publish games."
Yeah, I mean, I remember
and
saying,
it's not even that many now.
Yeah. Oh, you'll never see a Sonic game on a Nintendo. Then look what happens.
Yeah. You still never see Mario really on. I suppose, sometimes I think Mario has made an appearance outside of a Nintendo system.
I know mobile, isn't he? Like,
Super Mario Run, isn't it? Yeah.
And it's a kart game as well, a pretty crap.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, COD is a weird one because it's like because they released Warzone, which is hugely popular, and I think it's just put people off buying the yearly releases now because I do think Warzone has taken away that general multiplayer player base. You know, those people that like
it's constantly adding new content, and that content is tied in with the new games as well.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But they must be making a lot of money from the season passes and people buying skins and stuff, though.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But then again, that model isn't going to last forever either.
No. It's just
things come and go.
Yeah, it's just odd. Anyway, where were we? Was Nicky talking about his games?
He was talking about FIFA, FIFA trial.
So it wasn't realistic because I was playing as Arsenal and they were just winning every game. So obviously it's crap because that's not realistic at all. The only thing I did struggle, I had to find, because what I've known they did years ago, you could it wasn't automatic. You update the team, so all the new players that moved after the game came out, I was just trying to find that. But once you did that, that all patched in pretty quick. I thought that would have been just automatic, but you had to find a setting within a setting somewhere. But I mean, it's okay. It feels exactly the same game as I played 10, 12 years ago. So
it's what I don't understand, why FIFA, they kind of don't just release a base game every 3 years or so and then release like a £20, £25 seasonal update each year.
I don't think people would be happy with
it. Can still have all of the Ultimate Team stuff in there for all the shareholders to rub their hands together and that.
So I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know enough about FIFA to know if that works, but I know from playing MLB The Show, throughout the season, the baseball season. There's a lot of roster moves all the time, and the game just automatically updates all the roster moves for you. Like every time you launch the game, it searches for the roster moves and just does it, right? Does FIFA do that? I don't think it does it?
That's what I just said, Webby. I said
no,
but that does do that, but you've got to find a setting and go in and check for it. It doesn't do it automatically.
Right,
Whereas
but you don't have to pay for that though, do you? You don't have to.
No, but I think you obviously you get at the start of the season, which is like something like the 1st of September or whatever. Usually about the time the game come out, everyone can move in, and then they'll move. There'll be a month in January where everyone can move again.
Right.
So they'd only realistically need to do it twice a season.
Yeah, it's just transfer periods, isn't it?
Yeah. Whereas I think in baseball and stuff like that, I think that can pretty much happen at any time. Trades.
It can happen a lot. Yeah, it happens a lot more often than football. Anyway, yeah.
It's only twice in FIFA, but
right, okay. I was just wondering, but because if they released a FIFA, I don't know, every 3 years, as you say, then they would have to they'd have to find other ways of making money, and I can't see how they would do that because people would expect a free updates for the transfers. What if new players appear, come up from the minor leagues or whatever, the shitty leagues into the Premiership, and their faces haven't been scanned into the game, so they've got to put these players in the game. Obviously, that's going to cost money and work and stuff like that.
Cut out on the face.
Well, use the old. Do you remember on the 360 you could? Like on Rainbow Six, the live vision camera, and you could take a photo of your face and put it up. It's just fucking do that instead, man. That's fine. But how would they make money on that? That's just something, and because there's a lot of money in football. There's a lot of money that EA want to make, but you have to remember that EA obviously are paying a lot of money to FIFA for the licensing of the game. Anyway, that's and I think people underestimate how much that's probably costing the company.
That's what we were saying, Webby. That's why they're not doing it from... Well, officially, that's not happening. Whether or not they'll go back on it, we don't know. But they won't have the license to anyone at all. So none of the players might not look like anyone.
Mm. Oh, well, they could...
The whole point.
I don't know. Weird.
I want to talk about another game. I'm bored of FIFA. I'll probably talk about it longer than I've actually played it.
Just a quick question about FIFA. Do they have the women's teams in it now?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I'm just wondering.
I saw a woman, like, on the title screen, a woman for England. She was playing, so probably I think they've had...
The women's England team. Do the women have a Premier League? Or no? Because I don't even watch football, so I don't know. So.
Yeah, I think they have got, like, a league and a Champions League and stuff like that.
Okay. Anyway, let's move on to other games. I'm bored now.
Yeah, I just said that, like, twice.
Oh, no, I just wanted to answer the question quickly. That's fine. Go.
All right. So I've fired up the Dreamcast again this week because,
Excellent.
I've been playing a lot of Soul Calibur. I'm really into my fighting games again now.
Which is that? Soul Calibur what? Which number is that?
The first one. It's the first one.
Oh,
the OG
okay.
On the,
which apparently that does work on Series X as well as like a 360 back and back game. You can get it on there, so that's pretty good. But I've been just playing that, try to unlock the characters, by actually playing the game, not paying money for packs and skins.
What's that like, Nicky? Unlocking things by actually playing the game?
Well, I beat up some guy. I went through like the arcade mode. I punched some people in the faces, chucked some people off the edge of the map, and it just says character unlocked. I was like,
no, you don't have to actually pay for them with your credit card. Oh my goodness! Wow.
I just
a novel concept.
Yeah, and that's like I say. Because I've been playing this, and obviously last week, I said on the Patreon, I was on the old Dead or Alive, back and pat, 1, 2, and 3 on the original Xbox, the Ultimate, and things like that. And that's one of the reasons why back then I was really into my fighting games. I just stopped because I was getting the newer fighting games, and half the characters that weren't in, were in the last one, weren't in it. And I was like, but then that wasn't, I think this was towards the end of the PS2 and the original Xbox, but instead of coming as downloadable content, they'd bring out like another version of the game.
That sounds a little bit like Street Fighter.
Yeah, which Street Fighter is selling DLC characters and Game of the Years. And I mean, how many Street Fighter 5s have they done now?
I think there's only been 2, to be honest.
Yeah, but didn't they do loads of versions of 4? I remember the 360. Yeah,
I've got all of them, I think.
Yeah, that's what that got me. I was just like, oh, I can't be arsed. And then, you know, especially with Dead or Alive, like 5 and 6, they were hiding all the dirty pervy costumes behind paying money. I was like, oh,
no
that's the reason
way.
I play these games, you know? Paying like 20 quid, see her in a bra when I used to get that for the price of the game.
Well, they know that all you dirty perverts will pay for all those skimpy outfits for the lady characters.
With the recent one, they did that on purpose to basically appease the journalists, because the journalists used to moan about it. So it's like, oh, they're in the game, but you got to kind of buy them if you want them.
Well, we know that Nikki would buy them.
No, because if I'm getting a choice to paying a lot of money, I'd rather just buy real porn. Much easier.
Pay for porn? Come on, man.
Oh, I said I would rather, but I don't.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it anyway.
Yep, so on that, and more fighting games on Dreamcast. This one I've got recently. I got a fairly good deal. Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Absolute classic, that game.
Yeah, that is one of, especially the versus games. Most people say that's probably the best one they've ever done. And I bought this because
I'd say so, because you buy that, and when you first start playing it, you boot it up, and you've got all your characters, and then you look at your character roster, and you're like, what are all these other question marks on the character select screen?
Ooh.
Like, I think every time you complete the game, you unlock an extra character. I think you end up doubling the entire game's roster by the time you've gone through it.
Yeah, I think
that's really good.
I think it starts with 30, and then every time you beat arcade mode with one of, the 30, you unlock another one.
Mm.
Now, like I say, don't have to pay a penny. Great.
Yeah, and I think it still holds up quite well, because one of those games that I played a few years ago on my Dreamcast.
I'll take you for a ride.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about the Dreamcast is I think a lot of the games still look pretty decent, even by today's standards. And because Marvel vs. Capcom 2 has this kind of cartoony art style, I think it still looks very, very good.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think from PS3 that, to Dreamcast and things like that, I think that was probably the biggest jump in graphics we've ever had, really. All the other ones seem to be just little bits of little more detail. That just outright horsepower and polygons and speed. I think that's probably that's why the Dreamcast is probably my favourite console.
Again, like I've stated ages before on here, Dreamcast was pretty much the first time outside of the Neo Geo where people could actually get games that looked exactly like the arcade in their home.
Yeah.
To obviously be able to have things like House of the Dead and playing it in your front room and everything, it was hilarious.
Hey man, do you remember Typing of the Dead? Now that was a game.
Yeah.
Stills works, but House of the Dead with a light gun doesn't, because it doesn't work on the flat screen TV.
No.
I'm sad. Love to play that, but yeah, so I've been playing that, and so I got it because I did go to London Gaming Market a few weeks ago.
Oh, nice! It's back on, is it? Oh. I love the London Gaming Market. It's so good.
Yeah, well, I went down there mainly because I met a few of my mates, I've known off Twitch and stuff like that. And I was going to get, but then I got this for 50 quid, buy it now, about 3 or 4 days before I went, because this normally goes for well over 100 on eBay. And when I got there was like 3 or 4 copies, but they were like 120 quid.
What's that?
Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Bloody hell, it goes for that much?
Yeah. Well over 100, and that's just...
There is still licensing issues with that game to get it on the recent consoles, because obviously Marvel is now owned by Disney, and you've got all these other sort of licensing issues around it, and because it's like the older Marvel characters. They're almost characters that sort of like the Disney side of it aren't interested in. They're more interested in pushing their newer sort of characters, which is why we got the absolute clusterfuck of a game that was like Marvel Infinite or whatever it was called.
Right.
I think that was more Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Infinite, wasn't it?
That's it. Or
then the year later they brought out
Marvel
another
3
version
was good.
of the same game.
Yeah, it was the more recent one that was. It just had none of the X-Men characters in it or anything like that, did it?
Yeah, because I don't know if I think Disney have finally bought them. X-Men were owned by Sony, weren't they?
Oh, okay.
So they were all like a freeway sort of fight between.
I know it's Fox. Fox had the rights.
Fox, sorry, Fox, but then I'm sure Sony did own X-Men, didn't they? Sure, Sony owned X-Men, but like even now, Sony have got Spider-Man and Venom and things like that, which they won't let like the new DLC that's come out for the Avengers game. Spider-Man, that's only on PlayStation. You can't get that on Xbox.
It hasn't even got any story to it, has it? No. It's apparently just the character. That's it.
And apparently, it's so bad. I was watching some reviews of it. Like they haven't actually. So he does Spider-Man moves, but the hit detection isn't even close. So it says he's hitting people when he's like 3 feet away from them. Someone else's hitbox. If you see what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
You're probably playing as Hulk, but they've just swapped out Hulk for Spider-Man.
God.
The one thing I do want to ask you, Nicky, because I've got a Dreamcast, but I'm a tight fucker, so I just download all the games and burn them to disc. With the official games, like, don't you worry about the discs being damaged or the eventual disc rot or whatever? Because these games are getting on in years now, and CDs don't last forever.
See, I've heard that, but I've never had a CD go to shit. I've got CDs and music CDs from the 80s. They still work perfect.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
Well, I don't. Maybe if people didn't treat their stuff like shit.
Yeah, true.
It would work.
That was the only thing that was apparently the PS1 games with the black CDs.
Right. Okay.
I've heard. But most of mine were. I mean, I think I had one the other day, and here's another one as well. The game kept crashing. I took the CD out, cleaned it on with a bit of cloth, then put it back in, and it worked.
Oh wow! There you go.
I mean, we'll go back even further to blowing on cartridges soon.
You can get those CD repair tools as well, can't you?
Yeah, I think you can get them, or you can take it into CEX or game and pay like £3 and they'll put it in their machine and stuff like that.
You can only do that like once or twice because it actually takes a thin layer of the CD off.
Yeah, but they'll normally tell you by looking at it if that's something they can repair. Yeah, they should do. I don't know if they do now because some people are horrible, but we shall see. I mean, eventually most of this, like I say, that is going to stop working, and I have had some of my stuff stop working in the past, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But
okay,
yeah. So I was playing that. I mean, that is actually more talking about the game. It is really good. The only thing that's a bit difficult is because you actually pick 3 characters to play with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like a tag team sort of thing. So you tag in, all right, if one of your characters knocked out, another one comes in, which is good because I mostly play as Ryu or Ken and things like that. But all these other Marvel characters, I don't know any of their moves. So it just makes it so much harder because instead of learning one character's moves, you've got to learn 3.
Yeah.
Not just, just the standard moves. I mean, everyone knows with Ryu, the Hadouken and things like that.
Yeah,
you've got to learn all the special moves when they fill up the power meter and stuff like. I mean, I think it's called something different in every Street Fighter or
Max mode or whatever it would be,
all that stuff. Where he does it goes slow motion, the whole screen lights up, and then he does a super Hadouken or whatever.
Yeah,
which and on some of the other characters, I'm like, well, I don't know because you've got Jill. I don't know because she obviously is part of Capcom. She's got Jill Valentine from Resident Evil.
Oh, nice.
She's in it as well, and I'm like,
that's cool.
I'm like, well, I don't think she does.
Bon from Mega Man and stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, there's what is that little girl in that little Lego thing?
Yeah.
From Mega Man. Yeah, I was like, who the hell is that? But I mean, it's really good. I mean, I enjoyed it. It's just it's quite difficult. That's why a lot of people like them, because they can like work out what's the best team, like but because I don't think you can play it online at all. Because this was on 360. I still think if you bought it, you still can download it, but obviously you can't buy it anymore.
Yeah.
But the servers are probably turned off on that anyway, aren't they?
I think there's a few sort of like private servers that people use to obviously run. There are like obviously dodgy servers a lot of people use to run online games on PC and stuff. Online servers that don't exist anymore.
Yeah, back when games were good. So then after the Saturn, I've spoiled the surprise now. After my Dreamcast, I got my Saturn out because I actually sent that away to have that modded.
Oh, nice.
I got that modded, and I'll say if there's from a website, there's a bloke in Bristol called bitesfree.co.uk. And basically it was 40 quid plus shipping, which was about 8 quid. He modded it so it's region free, and it also does 50 and 60 hertz mode.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, there was one my mate had, and it had like a counter that you'd push buttons and it would rotate round to the region you wanted, and then there was a switch on the back you knock up and down for the 50 or 60 hertz.
This one, I mean, a similar sort of thing, but there's not a switch. It's just basically he's built it into the Saturn, so you couldn't see it if you didn't know. And basically, you've got the reset button, whereas if you hold the reset button a certain amount of seconds, it then changes the color from like green, which is like PAL region, to orange, which is like America. And then if you keep holding it again, it goes to I think red for Japan and stuff like that.
Oh,
it
that's
works with like all the games because I've got what you've got, Webby. The old pseudo Saturn card, which means it will force games to play, whatever region, and you can also play the old pirate games as well. If you burn them off disc, which I haven't got a problem with because you can't. Sega aren't selling them, and paying £400-500 for some of these games on eBay. That's not supporting the games industry at all. Is
like Panzer Dragoon.
Yeah, and there's I mean, there's a few that are like kind of, well, they were reasonably hard to get hold of back in the day, like 18-wheeler. It wasn't really a popular game.
Yeah.
And I think there was like Ferrari 355 Challenge as well. I think that was quite hard to get hold of at one point.
Wow.
Yeah, some of them had. I mean, even like especially on Dreamcast, the old Shenmue 1 and 2 were like really expensive, but then obviously when they brought out the HD collection or whatever this was, they've actually dropped in price quite bad.
Yeah, they're cheap now.
Because I bought them when they came out new, and I still had them, so it's not like I spent. Yeah. But I saw some of those were going like at one point, up to like over 100, 150 quid for.
Yeah, you're lucky to get like 20 quid for them now for the dual for each of them. Yeah.
Mm. I think sorry to completely take us off kilter, but if I recall back in the day, things like Ultimate Marvel versus Capcom 2 and all of that sort of stuff. I think a lot of that was done for the arcades as well back in the day, because I remember with games like Tekken also used to give you extra characters.
Yeah.
In the arcades in Japan, especially where the arcade scene, it's still there in some capacity. They used to have like big events when they'd unlock new characters each week for these fighting games.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
It was almost like a live service for the arcades back then. So it'd be like if you go into the arcade today, you'll be able to try out this new character.
That's awesome.
Because obviously the games were out in the arcades a long time before we used to get them, like the home versions.
Yeah.
Because they'd normally bring out the arcade, and then a year later we'd get usually a terrible port of it. Then by the time they'd finished putting all the new characters in the arcade, then we'd get like the Ultimate Edition or the EX Edition or whatever. But
yeah, it's a good way of getting people back to the arcade to try out another character. We'll see what the new characters were like.
Nice.
So obviously, so I got that all working. I mean, that was pretty quick. I mean, I think I sent it out on the Tuesday, and I got it back on the Friday. So
wow, yeah.
I was going to say, I'm going to quickly ask you a bit of a rarity check on your Dreamcast.
Right.
Do you have Last Bronx?
Never heard of it.
No, because that's on Saturn.
Is it on the Saturn? That's what I meant. Sorry,
right
Saturn.
On the Saturn.
Yeah, Last Bronx. Yeah, that's quite. I like that game, but I know for a lot of people, it's kind of like, what's that?
Yeah, well, there was a lot of it. Like I said, I was big into fighting games then, so that's why I've got a lot of big fighting games. Which the main reason I've got this Region 3 is so I can get some of the ones that they only released in Japan.
Yeah, because it was sort of like the big one was Virtua Fighter, and then Fighting Vipers, and then they kind of did Last Bronx as like another one, but I don't think it took off as well.
Well, I don't
Fighting
think there
Vipers
was
got a
Last Bronx
sequel,
too,
didn't it?
so obviously it didn't do very well, did it? Yeah, that's good. I'll stream that again soon, but because I'm getting more and more into my fighting games, and I've got the Saturn arcade stick now as well.
Nice. The Dreamcast arcade stick was amazing. I love that.
Yeah, I saw one at the arcade gaming market thing. And the guy, I think, wanted like 180 quid for it.
Bloody hell! It's got the little VMU visual, like the memory card unit thing that goes in the top as well.
Yeah. That's really cool.
You can usually pick it up on eBay for about 80, 90 quid, and I'm like, nah. If it was worth if they were selling it for what it normally goes for on eBay, then I'd just pay it, because I know I'm not going to get it any cheaper off eBay, or it'd take me ages of like hoping someone's going to put it and buy it now and don't realise how expensive that should be. But I think it was, like I said, it was 180 quid, so I'm like, nah, mate, I'm not paying 100 quid more than what it's worth. But that was good. So, because like I said, because some of the games I've got, said Webby, with that pseudo Saturn, I say it will force them to play. There could be some issues with like sound and crashing and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's like some of the games that I've been playing, like the main one I've been playing, like testing, it was Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter.
Okay,
it's similar
on the Saturn. That was one of the first games that actually you had to use the extra memory card thing, didn't you?
Which is why it runs like absolute grease lightning. It's so fast, and I'm like struggling to keep up. But obviously I played that before when I got that, and let's say the audio was broken. Sometimes Ryu hid Hadouken and nothing had happened.
Was it Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter?
Street Fighter. Yeah, there's about 4 or 5 different types of them. You've got like X-Men versus Street Fighter and stuff like that. But I mean, that was really good. I think that's 2-player, and I was actually doing quite well when I played that. And which is strange, because I used to mostly play Street Fighter 2 back on the Mega Drive. That's where I really got hooked on like fighting games and stuff like that. And I did go on and play to have another go at it. Was Street Fighter 30th anniversary collection on Xbox.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah.
And that was crap.
Which one did you play though? I mean,
I went through most of them, and I think the main problem is the controller, the new Series X one with the pie dish. You cannot use fighting games with that D-pad.
Right. Okay.
That just cannot. Like, you're trying to jump forward, jump up and forward, and every time he's like, nope, just going to jump straight up in the air. Screw you. I tried so hard, and I was like, and then I put it in on the hooked up my old controller to play it on the normal Xbox One X with the normal D-pad, and I was a little bit better on there, not as perfect. But when you're playing on the Sega Saturn with that D-pad, that is just so much better. I still don't think they've made a decent D-pad since then. What do you reckon, Switch? I don't think they've made I know they've got a lot more onto analog sticks, but
it depends. I mean, they're not bad, but I'm a joystick person when it comes to fighting games. I just find it a complete and utter mission with D-pads, to be perfectly honest. Although there's a few games that I do play sometimes with D-pad. I find Dead or Alive reasonably okay with a D-pad, but that's probably one of the only fighting games I do.
So what do you use then? Have you got like arcade sticks and stuff like that?
For my PS4, I had the Street Fighter 5 Hori stick that I had,
Okay,
but unfortunately I haven't got any fight sticks for now. So even with the PS5, when I'm playing things like Guilty Gear, and I played King of Fighters 15 beta the other week, like I was just using D-pad. It doesn't feel as good, so I definitely need to look into picking up a D-pad joystick at some point.
So it just doesn't seem that since they moved from D-pad consoles to analog stick, it just doesn't seem like either of them seem very good. You know what I mean? Because obviously the D-pads back then, when it was only D-pad, seemed great, but now it's like I tried to play the newer Soul Calibur 6, and I kept going from D-pad to analog stick. Nothing felt right. It just felt sort of, you know.
I mean, I probably wouldn't be too bad then, because I think I did play a fair bit of that on the controller back then, as well as the stick, to be honest.
All right, so the last game I played, which was Biohazard on a Saturn, which is Resident Evil, basically. Because I tried to play that through before I had the modded, and I got basically up to quite near the end of the game, and basically that was a 60 hertz part where you had to like alter the computer, put in the settings on the computer, and it just crashed the game every time. So I was streaming that today, just went through the whole game, played it through in like one stream. I got up to that bit and I was like, please don't crash, and it worked. So I'm like, I'm happy now. So at least I know I'm displaying.
Was Resident Evil a bit bog on the Saturn, to be honest?
It looks. I mean, I'm just watching a video now, and it looks so ugly.
Oh, that's fine. You put the Saturn version in though, Webby.
Yeah.
Some bit stint because
I just remember the colours not being as because I always found like the Saturn. Some games kind of looked a bit washed out when it looked colour-wise when it came to like the polygon games, because obviously the Saturn was designed to be a 2D system.
Well, they've got that weird double CPU thing, whatever, going on, aren't they? Where they bolted another one on the last minute. But I played for us fine. I mean, it is an old-looking game. I suppose the best version you could get is for graphic wise is the DS version, unless you're going to get some kind of PC HD mod, which they do. But
didn't they do a remaster of the original Resident Evil though? I'm sure there was a remaster.
Oh, obviously.
Yes, yeah, they did an anniversary one for PS3 and 360 back then.
No, they did the remake, but they never did the only thing where they've made the graphics of the original any better would be on the DS.
Right.
It's the only time they've actually officially made anything with slightly better graphics. But I mean, some bits of the Saturn is better, some bits are not. Like a lot of people know Saturn's not very good with like transparencies and stuff like that. When you go to a bit where there's the water area, you know, like drain the water, it just looks like there's like loads of balls all floating in midair. Instead of water, it's just like blue balls floating everywhere. I mean, it plays okay, and I think it was a bit darker than what Webby's got on, but it's hard to know. But I mean, the Saturn version, or especially the Japanese version, is so easy. Because, like I said, I think I've said on air before, I don't know if it was on this one, where made a lot of those games, not just the Resident Evil games, but a lot of Japanese games in general, when they brought them, like the West and stuff like that, just made them a lot harder because they didn't want you to rent them, things like that. So,
okay.
In this, you get like far more items, more health, enemies do less damage, you do more damage to enemies. So that's why when people do speed runs of this game, they always speed run the Japanese version.
Oh, okay.
Also, there's a little bonus in this game where when you play as Chris, you get to the end. You know where you get to the end, everyone knows where the tyrant comes out at the end, smashes through the glass.
Yeah.
But it's in the Saturn version, you shoot him, he falls down, and then he melts away. I'm like, oh, how's he melting away? Because he normally then attacks you again later, doesn't he? And you go to try and get out of the room, and you press the computer. At the other side of the room, another tyrant smashes out.
Oh, right.
So there's actually two tyrants. So when they port a game a year later, it's back then. It's just a few extra modes. Plus, this has got a battle mode they included as well, which I think a lot of people saw on the Resi 2 on the Dreamcast and stuff like that. It's just like a time trial mode where it starts you at a certain place of the game. You have to get to a certain, other part of the game, and all enemies are in different positions and stuff. It's even got a golden tyrant as well, and zombie Wesker.
Oh, that's quite cool.
So the one that you see zombie Wesker with his red eyes all sort of blurring out of his. Oh, there we go. There's Wesker. But yeah, I enjoyed that. I mean, I love my Resident Evil games. I just still can't believe that. Other than on PS3, you cannot buy the original 3 games anywhere else other than digitally on there. Not on Steam, not on anywhere. And when PS3, I know they've knocked on the head for a while. I think they've stopped PSP. They're eventually going to do PS3 and the Vita store. So when they're gone, you just can't get them anywhere.
Oh, I mean, on my Steam library, I'm just looking at a minute. I've got Resident Evil, the original, but it's like the remastered graphics.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
Resident Evil 0, and I've got 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7. Is 4 on there? I'm not sure. I'm guessing
4 will be on there, but they're no.
Yeah.
I mean, that was in the news. I'll talk about that a bit later, but I had a bit of news on that. But yeah, but I'm saying the original with these PS1 graphics.
Yeah.
I think that's the Japanese thing, because I remember you said this a few weeks or months ago, Webby, about the Gran Turismo guy that says, why would you want to play the older Gran Turismos when we got the newer ones and things? I think that's their mentality. Yeah. Like, why would we have the older versions out and we want to sell the newer versions? I think that's why they don't want them on the store.
Yeah.
Well, this is why there was. I remember during, just before COVID, I think it was, like just listening to like a media podcast that covers all sort of different types. There was like one of the guys from like Marvel or DC on there, basically having a moan because people were like buying the hell out of all of the old comics rather than the new ones.
Right.
And they were getting upset because it's like, we're trying to make new stuff, but unfortunately it's a bit shit. So everyone had gone back to all of the old stuff, and they were getting kind of like bit disheartened by that. And it's like, well, make things better then, I guess. Like,
make the newer stuff better. Stop trying to force people to not be able to buy the older stuff. So I have that in Japan where it's actually, you cannot sell like second-hand games and stuff. That's actually, I don't know if it still is now, like today, but it was basically illegal. You can't buy second-hand stuff or sell it.
I doubt that.
In Japan?
Yeah, you can buy second-hand stuff in Japan for, I don't know if you can now, but for
when I went over there, there's shops literally full of it. I mean, there's a huge, like, well-known, is it Hot Potato?
Mr. Potato, yeah.
Or Hot Potato in over there. That's just literally just a second-hand shop, and there was like a huge second-hand figurine shop as well, because obviously a lot of the like anime and game figurines and stuff, they kind of come out in a limited run, and once they're gone, and the prices of them when they're out of print go through the roof. Some of them, so something that might cost you like 90 quid new to pre-order now might cost you about 400 or 500 quid because it's out of print.
Yeah,
and that's second hand.
So I mean that Mr. Potato is, it's famous, isn't it? Because you get people going over there from all other countries just to get the rare shit, All good. Nikki. Oh, cool. Bloody hell, we've gone on for just over 2 hours and there's only done 2 of us.
Well, I won't be too long as per usual.
Go on, Darren. Go for it, buddy.
Well, I've just been playing the usuals, getting myself ready for the Final Fantasy Endwalker, which should be out by the time we record our next show.
Ooh.
I will have played it by then with any luck, as long as the servers hold up and there isn't any dodginess going on with like queue logins and all of that usual fun and games that we have during MMO expansion launches, etc.
Yeah, so it's out Friday. I mean, I was chatting to you before the podcast, wasn't I?
It's out technically on the Tuesday, but Friday's for the early access pre-orders and stuff. So.
Oh, so I've got the early access. So when's the early access out?
Friday.
Oh, okay.
This early access is basically like, did you pre-order the game? You get to play it early. Doesn't matter what edition you bought, you get to play it early.
Yeah.
If you pre-ordered it. None of this buy the ultimate edition nonsense to play it before other people. Just if you buy it, off you go. They've always done that as well, which I appreciate. Even going back from when they did the original launch on the PS3 stroke PC.
Yeah, so so that's good. So I'm not going to be able to play it till Sunday next week. So because I'm actually away Friday and Saturday, visiting some family. So I'll hopefully miss out on all that launch woes. But I can imagine you, Darren, swearing your head off trying to get onto this on Friday.
Yeah, I'll probably have a little bit of a grizzle, but we shall see. Like last time, it wasn't actually too bad for us in Europe. I think it was America that copped a lot of crap because they had like DDoS attacks on some of their server farms and that.
Well, I mean, I can go out and say with some quite certainty, Darren, that it will not be as bad as the New World launch. That's for sure.
I don't know. Things constantly seem to outdo themselves these days. So
yeah.
We shall see. Black Desert. Just mucking around on that recently. Really, haven't really added anything new. Haven't really played the PS5 much this week either. Which is kind of shocking because I've obviously got like Kenna, Bridge of Spirits and everything that I still enjoy and want to get to, but I don't know, I've just been like recently just trying to get through like Borderlands 3 content, which I've been talking about for the last bunch of weeks. So
yeah. Oh, nice.
I finished the Love and Tentacles expansion.
Oh, Love and Tentacles sounds intriguing.
It's the sort of like the one with like Hammerlock and Hammerlock's wedding, with the sort of like Lovecraftian Cthulhu sort of horror story thing going on.
Oh, that sounds good.
It was actually a really fun expansion. It was possibly my favourite of those, just because the locations and that were pretty interesting and the characters were fun, and you end up meeting up with Gage, who was one of the first additional characters from Borderlands 2. Who's the girl who's got like the robot death trap, is it, or something she calls it? If I remember. Trying to remember. Probably.
I don't know, because I don't own the game. I mean, I was half tempted because it's been in the Steam sale for £12, but I didn't.
But yeah, there's a lot to do. Yeah, so it took me again probably about 15 or so hours to go through this DLC, get everything done, like all of the logs and all the different chivos that were sort of tied in for it, the side quests and bits like that. But I enjoyed that. I am now doing, because I mentioned either last week or the week before, they had the second season pass on sale as well. So I picked that up for, I think it was like £14 or something.
Okay.
And I was like, screw it, I'm having fun with the game again. I might as well like play some more of it while I'm having a bit of enjoyment. So that came with 3 extra things, which is like gun running mode, which I believe is possibly multiplayer. There's an extra mode which apparently adds story to the original game, which is like the director's cut, I think it is. And then you've got what I'm doing at the moment, which is Psycho Krieg's Flustercluck,
Oh, right, okay.
Where you basically go inside the mind of Krieg, who's like the psycho, which was the second extra character in Borderlands 2. You go inside his mind and you're fighting all this weird shit. You've got like levels
cool.
made out of like meat and bones and eyeballs that follow you around while he's like screaming about riding meat wagons and stuff. You got like bandits riding bullets, like they're straight out of like Doctor Strangelove towards you, whooping and hollering.
Fun times.
It's completely batshit and completely weird, but it's fun. There's obviously new loot. I got a weird gun earlier, which is a parody on SpongeBob.
Oh, right.
So it keeps talking to me and doing like the sort of SpongeBob-y laugh and things. It's
freaky.
It's weird, yeah. But yeah, that was in the sale. So if you've got it, or like I said before, if you pick up the edition with everything in it, you've got like hundreds of hours of gameplay.
Wow.
And obviously with the director's cut stuff, you have all of the battle pass things.
Oh, okay, cool.
They've added battle pass stuff to it, so it's similar to like your badass ranks that aren't actually badass rank, guardian ranks. They renamed them. That's it.
Oh, okay.
So you got different bars that you can level up, and when you level it up, you unlock either keys or items that are on the card. And you can choose which cards to do when you want. It's not like it only runs for that season and then it's gone forever.
Right, okay.
Which is cool. I do like that. If you're going to add stuff, at least add it permanently to the game. Don't just add stuff in and take it away. So it's only there for a certain amount of time.
Nice.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. That and Fortnite. I've been playing Fortnite crossplay with one of my mates on PS5.
A lot.
And again, that seems to work pretty well again. And I believe that was one of the first games to actually have crossplay in it, wasn't it? That and Rocket League, I think.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it was. Wow.
In fact, wasn't it the very first?
I think it was the very first, mate. Yeah.
Crossplay by a glitch, and I think it was like PlayStation wasn't happy at the time. But yeah, again, it works perfectly fine. I'm eyeing up currently, even though this sale, like this, what do you call it? Black Friday sale, I don't think it's been brilliant.
No.
To be honest, but I am kind of thinking I may pick up the Back 4 Blood season pass because that's on sale.
I know for Back 4 Blood, the developers have come out and said that they are going to make the easy mode easier because they're hearing everyone's complaints about how hard it is.
And they are going to be working on a lot of the game, and they're going to be adding next month. They're going to be adding solo progression as well. So even if no one's on, I can actually play the thing.
Oh, excellent! Because I think the player base is pretty much was massively fallen off, hasn't it?
But it's nice that they're listening to their player base because, to be honest, an online multiplayer game is going to live and die on its player base.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So you kind of want someone to listen. So yeah, I was looking at that. That was like about, I think it's like from 35 down to about 23, something like that, maybe.
It's not bad.
But that's going to be adding in new campaigns, new cards, new characters, things like that. So it might possibly be worth it.
Yeah, man, that sounds cool.
And I still don't own the season pass for Origins either. And that's a game I really want to go back to at some point because I heard the DLCs for that were really good.
Oh, nice.
I think that's about 60% off in the sale. So, but that's always in and out of the sales. So I'm just sort of like peddling water here because I've pretty much finished what I was going to talk about.
No, that's fine, mate. That's fine. That's cool. Okay, well, if you've finished, well, I've only got a little bit of news this week. So if any of you guys have any more news that you want to discuss, that would be amazing. So are you done, Darren? Or do you anything else you want to mention? Okay,
yeah,
okay, cool.
Done. Thank you.
So a little bit of news. Rockstar Games. We all know that the GTA Trilogy remasters come out as a load of dog shit. But this is how lazy they were. Rockstar Games forgot to remove the mobile controls widget from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. So we all know that the so-called remasters were actually remasters of the shitty mobile games. And this is how lazy they were. They left the mobile stuff in that game. So stupid. So yeah, they're going to sort that out. Another bit of news. The most popular game console for Black Friday has been quite a surprise. It has been the Xbox Series S. But I think a lot of that probably has to do with the fact that's the only console you can find in stores still, even after a year. The console's been out a year and you still can't fucking get any of them apart from the Series S. Crazy. And do you know what else I was thinking about today? Just going off topic from the news a little bit. It's been 1 year since Cyberpunk came out. How fast has that year gone? That's insane.
Oh, have you also heard? Currently, it's one of the highest rated games on Steam within the last month or so.
Wow, have they? I'm taking they've patched it quite a lot this past year.
Well, they haven't really done any previous patches, but I think a lot of people, obviously on the PC especially, it ran obviously a lot better on the PC than as well as it did on obviously the Series X and the PS5 compared to last gen. And there's a lot of people now that are kind of like, you know what, that was a good game. Even though I always thought it was a good game.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah.
But yeah, again, they've been quite transparent recently with people. They're talking about releasing over the next couple of years, after obviously getting the next gen patches out next year.
Yeah.
About releasing 2 massive single player expansions for the game.
Wow, that'd be awesome. I'll be all over those.
Which is something that Grand Theft Auto hasn't done.
Yeah.
We got, was it The Lost and the Damned and the Ballad of Gay Tony?
They were really good. They were awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what did we get for GTA 5? Nothing.
No, because it's all about the online,
nothing.
Isn't it?
It's all the online, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just not the same.
Counting them card sharks, mate. They're so busy. They haven't got time to make.
Well, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Cyberpunk. I was just thinking about it. That's been a year, and I just remember playing it, and I just really enjoyed it from start to finish. I mean, I've got a couple of bugs, but not anything major or anything. And I just think people went a little bit overboard with the negativity surrounding that game, to be honest, because
it was the base PS4 and Xbox that were really balked.
Yeah, of course, I
actually saw that, and I keep holding off because I thought it was like 15 quid. Buy it from Amazon like yesterday, and today I was like, because like I said, I know there's going to be some kind of Game of the Year edition coming with like DLC and stuff, so I keep like holding off. But
well, they were going to do what they were planning with The Witcher, weren't they? And giving a load of free DLC, which I think they are still planning on doing. But I think it's a bit much, and even they know that handing out all the DLC while the game's in a bit of a poor state on quite a few systems isn't the way to go.
Yes, DLC before the base game is fixed. Yeah, I get that.
But it also, I did hear a rumour somewhere that most of the people who worked on the game, developer-wise and such, said that 2022 is kind of when they wanted the game to sort of really come out.
Wow.
Because that would have given them the right amount of time to work on it. It was just announced way too early.
Yeah.
They announced it before the PS4 came out, didn't they?
I believe so, or just if not shortly after, because you had that trailer, didn't you, of the half-naked woman laying on, sort of like sitting on the floor, like with the cybernetic limbs and stuff.
Yeah. Bloody hell!
Not in the game.
No.
Yeah, I remember that was January 2013, and obviously the console. They announced it when they announced the new consoles were coming. It was only like a little 5-second trailer that just said Cyberpunk CD Projekt Red, but
I can see it doing a bit of a phoenix from the ashes at some point. I mean, even if now, like in the Black Friday sales, I've seen the game, like you said, for like 15, 20 quid that you can pick it up on like PS4 or Xbox One. And those versions get the upgraded to the next gen versions as well. So we shall see. Obviously, if they came out with the next gen patches and they're still a bit like, then there's going to be a bit of a kickback. But I think the reason why they might have delayed these patches is they want to make sure they work properly.
Yeah.
Because they'd never live it down if they launched those and they were a shit show and caused a brand new bunch of issues.
Of what Webby said, how good his game was, or however many people now say, oh, the game's been patched a lot, it runs fairly well, whatever. The majority of people still only remember how broken it was when it came out, and that it's just too late. Unless they're going to come out and make a really big thing, say, look, everyone, this is fixed, and pay advertising money and say you get the upgrades for free and play them on your new consoles, blah, 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 blah. So they've only got one shot of putting this big update out to say it's fixed, because if it's not, then the game's probably dead.
Yeah, 100%, yeah. Anyway, shall I move on?
Yep.
My last piece of news, I told you not much news. The PlayStation Plus games for December have leaked. So if you've got PS Plus, you'll be getting Godfall, Mortal Shell, and Lego DC Supervillains. Yay! Mortal Shell just came to Game Pass as well.
Godfall was a game I was kind of interested in back in the original days, but then they kind of shot themselves in the foot by when people found out that it was always online for some godforsaken reason.
Yeah, and it just doesn't. It didn't review well either, did it? It's just one of those run around hacky slashy type games that I know you actually quite like, Darren, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would if it had been offline playable and all the rest of it, then I guarantee I probably would have picked it up on launch with my system.
Right, yeah. Well, Mortal Shell's meant to be quite a decent game. I just don't think it sold very well when it came out.
So something like that would thrive on Game Pass, I believe.
Yeah, I think you can play it all co-op as well.
I believe so. Yes, it's a Souls-like sort of game, but with I think it's got ranged weaponry in it as well, hasn't it? As well as sort of slightly open worldy. And
yeah.
It's not a bad offering, to be honest, for December. I mean, the Godfall thing will be good. That'll get a lot of people back into that anyway, or boost the community for that game.
Yeah, definitely. That's all my news.
Got a little bit. Another one, just a small one.
Basically, that's what she said. Whoop whoop.
Ooh, yeah. She did say that. It made me cry. Anyway, so the voice actor for Albert Wesker, DC Douglas, has actually broke NDA and announced the Resident Evil 4 remake is.
Oh dear!
We know us now, but he's came out on live stream and Twitter, and basically said, "Yeah, I'm in the new remake, which is coming out next year." And obviously, there's more Wesker in this one in the separate ways portion, because obviously in Resident 4 there was a bit where you played as Ada Wong.
Right.
Yeah,
okay,
I don't remember Wesker really being in 4.
I think he was in a tiny amount.
He was mainly in 5 when he got
but I think he's more in this one. I think she was trying to find him. I think you saw him and he didn't really. Like I said, 5 was his big one, but yeah, and he's basically even shared concept art that Capcom has sent him to say what Wesker looks like in this one and stuff like that. So obviously, and he says, "Yeah, I'm breaking NDA," but it says I'm breaking NDA, but I don't give a shit.
Well,
What?
people have known about the Resi 4 remake now for about 2 years.
Yeah, apparently it's been in development since late 2018.
Oh wow!
You know,
Okay.
so I mean, when I say development, that could be, paperwork and concept art they're doing, because obviously all the people when they development, it's all on paper and ideas whilst people are making the next game. So when they say it's in development, they probably hadn't started anything on a computer for the last probably year or so. But there's a few things we know, because you can't really keep stuff like that secret anymore, can you, with social media?
No, it is a shame.
There's going to be another version of Resi 3 remake, like a Game of the Year Plus edition for the new consoles coming out.
Oh, that's good. So. That's good, because that was a bit half-baked.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what they're adding, or whether it's just going to be a rush bought job, just because Resident Evil likes to have something to sell every March, every year, don't they?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised we still haven't heard of any DLC for Village.
Oh yeah,
that's going to be out now for at least 7 months.
It's going to be Lady Big Tits, isn't it? That's just basically what it's going to be. Everyone just want more.
I wonder if we're going to see something hinted at the Game Awards.
Doubt it.
Because they did say, because of the huge interest in Village, it did. I think it did well for Capcom. Like was it over expectations or whatever you'd say? Performed more than they thought they would. That they were gonna sort of like definitely look into doing DLC for it, because they did a fair bit for 7, didn't they? As well, they did
they did
Death of Eve and all that sort of stuff, and the birthday party sort of smaller ones. But Game Awards is only a week or 2 away now, isn't it? So
it's going to be so shit. Just want to watch the trailers, and that's it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, that's what I'm mainly there watch it for the trailers and stuff these days now.
Yeah.
So possibly, like I said, my theories maybe something for that, because it's also been nominated a couple of times as well. And that'll probably be where we see the Assassin's Creed Valhalla Year 2 possibly get teased as well.
Cool.
As well as the supposed massive Sony remake. There's apparently a big first-party Sony game remake that some people know about and others don't. Okay. And I remember someone who was like originally a PlayStation person sort of said like, "Oh, people are going to lose their minds when they find out what it is," but no one knows yet.
Oh, that's cool.
So there's rumours it could be all different things, like Twisted Metal. Could it be Metal Gear? Could it be Silent Hill? Who knows? But yeah, that's supposed to be getting revealed in December, so it wouldn't surprise me if they do it at the Game Awards.
Yeah, that sounds like a Game Awards reveal. Yeah, 100%. Cool. Anything else, or is that it?
No, I'm so glad that's it. We've been going for a while.
Yeah, I didn't ask for any questions this week. There's not many people left in the Twitch chat because it's past many people's bedtimes, because it's gone 11 o'clock. So I don't blame people for slowly dropping off.
We've got to be up for work.
Yeah, if anyone's in the Twitch chat still and you've got a question, quickly type it, because otherwise we're going to end it now. 2.5 hours. I can't believe it. We've been able to ramble for that long. Crazy times. Cool. Right, I'm going to end it here. There's nothing's being typed in the Twitch chat, which I don't blame people for. So yeah, we're going to end it here.
Bots left.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Right. Thank you so much for coming on, guys. It's been really, really good this week. I've really enjoyed myself. Yeah, so from me, Mark Webb, Gamertag, Pearson ID, Steam ID, Webby 360G.
Nick Fights on the Twitch, Twitter. What else am I on? Still on OnlyFans, Grindr. What else? Come on, MySpace. That's making a comeback.
Times.
And Sensei Switch, looking forward to going balls deep next weekend.
Boom, boom. I'll have to pull you away for the podcast on Sunday as well. It's going to be...
Yeah, I might have to have it on in the background when I'm...
Yeah,
I might just be grinding out fates or grinding some levels or something, doing some side quests.
Doesn't surprise me. Cool, that's fine. Yeah, so thank you very much. For those of you that want to support the show, there's always the Patreon. Go to patreon.com/360gamercast. From as little as £5 a month, you get a show every single week of the year. And all our special shows. The most recent one we did last week was the music special. 4 hours plus of awesome discussion and music. It was amazing, that episode. I loved it. So if you wanted to listen to that, you'll need to subscribe. Don't forget, we have episode 100 next week. If you wish to send us a voice message, then please do. You can send the voice message congratulating us on 100 shows yet again to 360gamercast@gmail.com. That is the email address. Feel free to email that email address if you have a question as well, and I will read them out. But yeah, just send a MP3 or any audio file. I'll be able to convert it anyway for the show to that email address, 360gamercast@gmail.com, congratulating us or asking a question or just something, just to say hello. That would be amazing. I think that's it. So thank you very much. We will see you next week. Goodbye.